financially inside of you. All right. You good? We're good.
Cat hair all over me.
Oh, cat hair. You do fine with cat hair. What's up, everybody? Oh, what a day.
Woo!
What a week. What a week. It's been a fun one.
Oh my God.
Are you jacked? Are you jacked to the tits right now?
I feel like I ripped like 40 lines.
Are you financially inside of us right now? Sorry, I was just watching memes from The Big Short right before we hit live.
Oh my God. The adrenaline is just like flying.
Good. Well, it's been a long run.
Oh my God. Best week ever.
Steven's on a heater.
Okay,
everyone.
so somebody pointed out in the Discord, it was like, dude, it was only like a month or two ago that you were like, I'm depressed. I need time.
I am mentally and emotionally wrecked.
Yeah, we are so back.
Attaboy.
So back.
This sounds healthy.
This is good. This is very healthy. Just the financial and emotional mood swings.
Oh my God. It's been so long. I forgot how free the money is in crypto, like for 6 weeks out of 4 years.
Oh man. I feel like we shouldn't underappreciate a $10,000 daily candle in Bitcoin. Like that happened. That's wild.
I feel like I'm living in a dream.
Remember when the price was 5,000?
Yeah, like, I sometimes think I'm gonna wake up and turn on my TV and like Kamala is gonna be president and like Bitcoin's gonna be 44,000, ETH is like negative $40, and like we were almost in that universe.
We're almost in the ETH version of that universe.
We're there.
Oh man, yeah. I'm also free of the shackles of ETH too. It's just amazing. I feel so free.
Oh, you've unchained yourself from the burden of ETH?
Oh my God, yeah. I've been unburdened by what has
what
been.
it has been. All right, guys. Well, let's get into it. Welcome everybody to the Alfalfa Podcast. We are live, like we are every Wednesday at 5 p.m. PST on YouTube. So come join us if you don't join us or haven't joined us yet. Like the video if you haven't already. I see some people in the chat. A lot of people are also jacked. False is stoked. I think Matt Metzler said, I'm so stoked for this episode. What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining in. Yeah, like the video if you haven't already. Helps with the algorithms. Let's see, what else? All the links are at alfalfapod.com. And I might have to hop in there more in the Hidden Gems channel, where all the little low cap, market cap things.
Gem Hunters?
Gem Hunters, sorry.
The Gem Hunters channel, like I just peek in there every once in a while, and there's like 100 messages in there every 10 minutes, and I can't find anything.
Yeah, so if you're new to our Discord, there's basically like a few main channels. There's the lounge, there's money, there's life, there's politics. But if you find the Easter egg, find the threads under each channel, there's all kinds of little secret message boards in there. So go in there and find them. Let's see, what else? What else do we have to do? Oh yeah, I guess if you end up liking this episode, share it with a friend, text it to a friend. We see that's how most of the stuff gets shared. So appreciate you guys for already doing that. I think that's it. Armand, we miss you. I don't know where Armand is. He's doing very business things, I think, today.
Yeah, that was kind of cryptic. He's just like, yeah, can't make it. Going to Santa Barbara.
Okay, cool. Well, we miss you. I'm sure he's gonna pop in here or check out the stream at some point. All right, what are we drinking? Looks like you guys got some Modelos. You got a Negra. You got an original.
This tastes delicious and not at all like it's room temperature and was possibly sitting in the back.
It might have been sitting in my car for 3 days.
Uh,
Yeah, but we make do.
It's okay. I got one sitting in the freezer. So
You also brought some fancy tequila.
Yeah, gifts from the in-laws. So yeah, good thing
42.
1942 is delicious at room temperature.
1942. Got some Boss Hog.
Yeah,
So bull market.
life's looking up again these days, boys. All right. Corby says, shout out to the Wellness channel. I believe that's under the Life channel. All right. Well, let's give a shout out to our sponsor. Go to zbiotics.com/alfalfa. Use the code alfalfa for 15% off your first order. We had a little shindig this weekend, and the ZBiotics was flowing. Hopefully saved everyone from a terrible morning the next day.
Indeed.
Lots of drinking was going on, so ZBiotics saved the day again. The pre-alcohol is a genetically engineered probiotic that gets rid of that nasty toxin that alcohol creates, acetaldehyde, and it's that, not dehydration, that makes you feel like crap in the morning. So for the cost of one drink, you can save yourself from all the bad feelings from all those drinks you're going to have in the night. Keeps the morning fresh, keeps you so you can keep working out and whatnot. It's some of the best wellness alpha we've had on this podcast. And so, yeah, we like promoting it. So, yeah, use the code alfalfa at checkout to support the pod, get some money off. And thank you, Cbiotics, for sponsoring the pod.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Where do we start?
Should we just try to orient ourselves?
Yeah.
I feel like
We've been talking over text
9
a lot.
years have passed in the last 7 days.
Yeah, so for people who aren't in the crypto verse much, what's been going on?
Bitcoin is crushing.
Do you think normies care yet, or is it on their radar yet?
They're starting to come out.
Okay,
But they're all
text?
coming out of the woodworks and being like, should I sell?
Hmm.
Which is just amazing. Just so amazing.
Okay.
Just people underwater, basically, at break even, or just.
What was
I guess
No one can be
nobody's
underwater.
It moved so fast. Things changed so quickly.
Yeah, so Bitcoin's had a pretty epic move, and all the
Sniffing 100K. I think we hit 93K today. It's going up so fast. The other day, my CoinGecko alerts were Bitcoin is hit 83K. Bitcoin is hit 84K. 2 hours later, Bitcoin is hit 91K. I'm like, oh my God.
well, I was texting you guys this morning. I took the dog out for a walk, came back, and we're at all-time highs. So things are pretty volatile now.
Yeah, we're just in the midst of a massive snap repricing.
Yeah.
Of an entire asset class.
We're seeing the crypto-related securities like Coinbase and Robinhood,
Coinbase had a 35% day last week.
and then another 20% day
Just
on top of it.
Oh,
So yeah, up 60%. I saw Brian Armstrong and what's the Robinhood guy, Vlad?
Yeah, Vlad Tenev.
Yeah, Vlad Tenev on CNBC. They got their time in the sun to explain what the hell is going on, and I think Brian Armstrong was a little more eloquent about it, but basically saying we're free, the shackles are free. We can now be entrepreneurs again and create all the cool things that we've ever wanted to, including 24/7 trading, faster trades, cheaper trades, and so the repricing.
it's crazy.
It's happening.
Crypto's been around for what, 15, 16 years? But it's only been legal for 7 days. So we're unironically very early into the new paradigm.
It's true.
And it is a new paradigm this time. All the other ones were oh, we do a cycle, we pretend that institutions are going to buy our bags or something, and there's some adoption, and then nothing happens, and we go negative 80%, negative 97%, and then kind of do it all over again.
Undoubtedly, in times like this, you get two types of feelings, right? One, you're holy shit, I'm richer than I was last week. But then you also have that complemented with a sense of FOMO, because you probably could have been richer if you would have done X, Y, and Z. Everyone kind of goes through those mental cycles.
Those feelings are so brutal.
Yeah.
I feel like the money that you left on the table hurts just as bad as money you've actually lost.
So I just want to get a pulse check. How are you guys feeling? Are you somewhat grateful, or are you still kicking yourself in the ass for some random thing you didn't do at one time or another?
I'm so happy. I'm fine.
Wow, shocker.
Everything's just working. It's good.
Steven, you seem generally positive and good about.
Yeah, I mean, I TP'd 70% of that huge Solana long I had pre-election, a little bitch.
Sorry for influencing you to be more conservative.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. But after I did that, I took a cold shower, and then I just YOLO'd a bunch of other shit. So I feel like I ended up with the same risk exposure in the end. And stuff it's been good.
I feel really positive about everything, but I don't know about how, you guys are more professionals about just trading and investing. But for me, when I see a huge run up, I'm deer in the headlights. I'm just stuck oh my God.
Yeah.
And I just stare at the screen and I'm what do I do? And then I think about what to do and I don't do anything because, it's just a shock to see.
So I think there's two styles, right? So what you're describing is the huge run up, but then those are usually followed by volatility to the downside too.
Yeah, we had a little bit in Coinbase today.
Yeah, Coinbase got bludgeoned at the end of the market trading day. But I think there's two styles, two approaches, and Steven epitomizes one, and I'm the other one.
Okay.
Where it's I like to buy and hold things, and I bought some early options on Robinhood, Coin, other names that we talked about here on Irresponsibly Long, and have never sold them. And like there was a ton of volatility in those.
Dude, I still have my Robinhood options from Irresponsibly Long.
Are those leaps? When do they expire?
Yeah, January. I wish I sized them bigger. They're up like
Some of those Robin,
1400%.
yeah, some of those Robinhood options are 10x, and then like Coinbase was like an 8-bagger for me.
Like one of them was one of the ones where I was like, I'm just gonna nibble this just so I have it. But then like it took off and I never added it to the position, and I put like $1,000 in it, and it's like worth like $15,000 now, and I was like, ugh,
Yeah.
probably should have sized that bigger.
So a lot of listeners have followed along with those two trades in particular, and I was talking to a few listeners this week on the phone and a little over text, and some were like, "So, my Coinbase options or my Hood options are up bigly," and they're just like weighing the different options. And Eric, you've told me about a few options I didn't even know of. Like, one is you could just sell the options, right? Take profits. Another is you could exercise them if you wanted to and sell covered calls on them, get a little income off them, maybe tone down the volatility a little bit by owning the common instead of the options. And then you talked to me on Sunday about selling poor man's covered calls.
PMCCs, baby.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it before. You want to just explain that one? Because I think it's a cool little alpha bit.
So it like the mechanics of it are pretty simple. You just like sell calls against your long call. I think I'm only comfortable using it in the strategy that I employ, which is selling like far out of the money call options. And like it depends on where your strike price is, how effective this stuff is. Because if you like own a leap or something and you're long call and you're like near the strike price, like your delta is not going to be enough to cover the short leg.
Okay.
So like you had to be kind of like deep in the money for it to like behave like stock
All right.
on a PMCC.
Probably like somewhat advanced move, but if people are interested in learning about it, I'm sure they can talk to the machine,
Yeah,
talk to
ask
GPT
the
about
little
it.
Machine. But I think for people that are like looking to trade this stuff, it's like outside of my scope. Steven knows how to trade this stuff.
Right.
Like I want to hold Coinbase for the duration of my leaps, which goes into 2026. And like,
Same. I'm December 2025.
yeah, I don't want to sell this. Why would
Okay.
you want to sell this
I don't. It's just a large amount of money swinging around every day.
every day?
So maybe it's good to be a deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
I mean, when I bought the Robinhood position, I was like, I want it to just be cap gains. So I'm just gonna. Like in my mind, I was like, a year from now, we're gonna be in like froth, and then I'll think about it, and then I'll be Gucci with the taxes.
We got a comment in the thread here in the chat. Someone, I think Rocket says, anyone else wish they took more action on Steven's rants? So I like how you've been a lot more vocal on Twitter. I feel like you were yelling at me personally one morning. I opened up Twitter and it was like Steven's like, you don't be I don't know, something about whatever, and you know, Bitcoin was at 90, now it's 85. You gobbled the first dip, and you were, you know, when it was at 75, you were shocked. Is it too expensive? And now it's at 85, and you don't know what to do. Well, next week it might be at 95. You're not going to know what to do then. You always buy the first dip. Anyway, do you still echo those sentiments?
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin in the 90s is like an interesting area for me because that's kind of what I had mapped out from like a TA perspective as like the first kind of like wall per se. Now that doesn't mean everything tanks. Like often you see Bitcoin kind of sneeze a little bit. Like the other day we had CPI, and it was something I forgot to. I had it in my brain on Sunday because I always look at the economic calendar, especially in the TradFi world. But like crypto, you know, you start looking at dog coins and then things get a little. But Tuesday, everything started dumping. Like Bitcoin was down like 1%, but like alts were down like 15%. I was like, what the hell? And I was like, oh, CPI's tomorrow. Fuck. Because I had gobbled the dip earlier that morning because I was like, from past bull market things, I'm like, okay, so first quote unquote scary dip, you just blindly buy it, right? Like the dips go like you just blindly buy everything. The first dip, and then the next dip is like, yeah, it's a little scarier and run some serious liquidations. Like open interest is higher, funding is higher. Like there's actually a lot of damage to be done. What was interesting coming into the end of last week was that like Bitcoin was fucking ripping, and like people weren't that long. like funding rates, like which is like a measure of how much demand there is to be like long futures versus like sitting in spot, basically. They weren't that high, and I think it's because we're at like sort of like the peak of collective PTSD. And it makes sense. Like the peak of PTSD is going to be like right before everybody is like, oh wait, it's actually over. But it takes people, much like it takes people a while in the bull market to learn that the bull market's over, it takes people a while in the bear market to learn that the bear market's over. Which is why you get all these texts like, should I sell? Is it over? Like, can you imagine texting me like, should I sell my Bitcoin? It's like 6 days after crypto got legal. It's like fucking mental illness, right? But people are just like, oh my God, 90 is a big number. It's up a lot. A lot is a big number. I don't know what it is, but it's a big number. So prices are like gravity, right? They go up and then they must come down. But
So what are you using for that 90? Because we're in like uncharted terrain. So like, is that a fib extension, or what are you using that like tells you 90 is a level?
yeah, they're a version of fib extensions, on without getting too technical. It's on the basis of like sort of like the consolidation range you broke out of, and sort of like the longer the range and the larger the sort of like manipulation leg within the range, like it's kind of like a slingshot, right? The longer it stretches down, like the farther price tends to explode back on the other end. And then the longer you're in a range, like the more time large players have to accumulate positions, like kind of like the higher you can go.
Other things that have been crossing my mind is like a few of the sell signals I had put in, like, I don't know, 3 months ago, actually kind of hit. Like Coinbase rocketed to like top 10 of the app
Is
chart.
it top 10 now?
It was top 18 the other day, and I think it's gone up even more.
God.
So that's one.
Oh God.
The other is like USDT dominance basically went low. To me, it's a sign of like positioning. Like people aren't in cash; they're allocated. So those hit, and I was like, "Oh, should I?" It does seem very early, so I don't want to listen to them now. But some of those are popping up, and I'm like you said, have a little PTSD, and I'm like overly sensitive to them right now. But you're ignoring them all.
Yeah, it's too early. I do think, like, probabilistically speaking, we have kind of like a mega run for a few weeks and then just wipe hard either like late December, early January or something. Like I still think that's
Sounds about right.
pretty logical. You look at like how long, the span of these alt seasons are. Like we haven't even started alt season yet, so I don't want to call it alt season. Like Bitcoin dominance is still
61%.
ripping. Like Bitcoin is still crushing.
Isn't that like
most of the
all-time
market.
highs of Bitcoin dominance?
Not all-time highs, but like in this era.
Yeah.
Last 4
kinda
years
like
or something.
Near.
And crypto is like a little more idiosyncratic right now than it has been in the past because things are less correlated, I think. You have this entire kind of meme sub-asset class that is actually somewhat uncorrelated from Bitcoin, which is interesting and makes it kind of like a more compelling portfolio allocation, I think, because of that. So that's something to consider. But then also there's been this collective realization that these sort of VC coins are just trash. So like they're just not doing anything while, Bitcoin rips. But so there's a lot of dispersion in the market in terms of what's going up and what's not going up, and even
God, let's think about that because like, okay, so in TradFi world, we have the S&P 500 and we look at like the Mag 7 driving all the returns of like this stock world. Right now, you look at like crypto, Bitcoin is driving it, and then there's like ETH languishing. Sol's pretty good.
Sol looks great.
Actually, there's some shit in the top 10 that's just flying. Ripple,
Yeah.
Cardano. Like we're like too smart for this kind of token?
I posted a Cardano trade last week with the disclaimer that I had to go take a shower, but like I longed it. It was a fucking great long.
the
It
thing
went
was probably up
it
like
had
100%.
Nice,
Your-
like
your-
25% daily
Your
candle
tweet
or
from this
something.
morning. By the way, if you don't follow Steven, it's 0x Magic Lines on Twitter. But yeah, your tweet from this morning was like, okay, something about the market is telling me something. You listed 2 meme coins that were up like hundreds of %, and your smart person trade Lido was like minus 3%, and you're like, Okay,
It was +3.
+3. Okay.
But like Pepe was plus like 56. You know.
yeah. and you're like,
God.
I did have a brief moment last week where I started analyzing the market again, and I do think it's like a legitimate analysis, right? Because you saw some of these kind of like regulatory coins, right? Aave, Lido, Uniswap, they like ripped off the bottom last week with the election. And there's this thought that, oh, these are going to be like investable assets now. These are going to be the first assets in crypto to be like analogous to stocks, right? They're going to be the first crypto stocks, basically. These things you can invest in that have like cash flows. And it's going to be so cool because you're going to be able to view all of the earnings in real time on chain 24/7. There's not going to be these like earnings calls, like new paradigm type stuff. Super interesting, like really tweaks my quote unquote smart brain, right? And then I looked at like Lido market cap is like it's like $1 billion or something, and like ETH's in at like 400 million, and Lido controls like 30% of all the staked ETH. And staked ETH, if you believe in ETH, is like this mega valuable thing. There's going to be an ETH ETF at some point that probably uses STETH,
Right.
and Lido controls all of this. So this is like entity is going to control like this giant swath of all of the ETH supply, right? And it's trading at what one third of a percent of ETH. Like I don't know what the valuation is. I don't know what the ratio is, but it's probably more than like 0.2%, right?
Can we like have this kind of smart convo? Because I
Yeah.
actually like this stuff too.
Sure. I mean, I wouldn't recommend following any of this advice, but
Right,
we can
'cause,
have
like,
a smart combo.
I think this is the point. Like, first of all, buying Lido right now is not working, so don't do it. But like, long term, like they take a rip off of their staked ETH that you stake with them, right? So there will be revenues to the protocol, but there is no revenue or like accrual mechanism to the token holders, and that's still an issue. Like even if the regulatory regime says that this is okay, it doesn't mean that they will like share their like glorious
Still
revenue.
a worthless governance token, essentially.
I mean, they will. They'll turn it on.
It's a worthless gov coin.
Anybody who controls that much value and doesn't turn it on is going to get like ripped to shreds by any entity that wants to go into the space and just do the same thing, but like share revenue.
And I turned off my brain to this like whole side of crypto. I'd like to turn it back on, like once this becomes like the meta again. But like right now, you're saying it's only $1 billion. Like that might even still be like a very rich valuation in terms of like its revenue base.
Yeah,
There's
but
just no way that's
I don't
a
know.
rich valuation.
I could see a point where the talking heads on CNBC and Bloomberg like start to understand staked ETH has a yield,
Well,
and then
dude,
they
like-
immediately make the correlation, and then it's like, oh, what is this $1 billion market cap coin? Should we own some?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, but I think like if you start to price things based on their fundamentals instead of like as a relative basis, like you're used to crypto, right? So like right now, something in crypto is worth $40 billion that is literally nothing,
Yeah,
and you think, oh, 1 billion for Lido sounds reasonable, but like Lido might not generate that much.
like if it's like 500 times earnings or something,
Yeah,
you're
that's
like,
what I'm saying.
wait, what?
Yeah, but like, look, these tokens are more than just revenue, right? Like to have like governance
well,
control.
currently they're much
like,
less than revenue.
Yeah, but like in the future, it's not just like, oh, I can get revenue. You're talking about having like some sort of control of a potentially wildly valuable asset. Like if you believe in ETH, you should probably believe that STETH or whatever you want to call it is going to be like a very precious thing.
What if I told you I'm not back to break even on my Lido yet?
Yeah, me neither.
If ever there was a time to buy Lido, it is right here. Like one of the one of the beautiful things about the Lido chart is that you look at it, it's like, well, it's not going to go fucking lower than it was Monday before the election, and that was only like 15% below this morning or 20%, right? It's a pretty nice floor for like potential like unlimited upside if you have the patience, which I don't. I mean, I have like a small bag now. Like I had a big position at one point coming into the week, and then price moved, things happened. I looked at this coin and I was like, wait a minute, this is actually just a piece of shit. And then I looked at kind of like what are the big market movers? Like if you go on a CoinGecko page and look at like the biggest categories that are moving, it's like number one category is like Elon coins. Like that's the number one category post election is fucking Elon coins. It's not like like regulatorily benighted coins didn't even crack the top like 20. It's
All right, can we? Yeah,
No,
go ahead.
before we move on to
Yeah.
like what is actually ripping, can we talk about the preconditions in which like these things would actually work?
Yeah.
I think like these things will work. Like Steven's right, he's just early. But you've also said that if you're early, that just means you're wrong.
Yes, you're very wrong if you're early. If the market that you could be in is ripping 50% in the day.
Agree. So like
You're very wrong.
But I do think this market will sort of work eventually, and it's this simple. It's like Bitcoin goes, and then people like the mainstreamers. Like when I was a mainstreamer, you guys brought me in. I was a mainstreamer in 2019 or wherever that was, 2020, and then I was like buying Bitcoin. I'm like, ooh, this stings the wall a little bit too much. What's the next one? And it was Ethereum. And then like I think that's basically what's going to happen as like more mainstreamers get involved. Then Ethereum, the price goes higher, and then it's just like the ecosystem goes.
Yeah. Do you think we need any regulation actually enacted for this thing to go, or it could go regardless? Like just the hope of regulation in the future could.
Yeah, it probably will at some point, purely based on the hope. I think the TradFi capital just moves more slowly. I think you had the pump off the bottom, right, where crypto native capital is like, oh shit, we're gonna front run the TradFi capital, right? But then you're up 40% in 8 hours on your money, and what do? You sit around for 12 months waiting for the TradFi capital? No, you just take your 40% and you sell. And you probably buy back lower, and that's probably what's happening right now.
Right.
And then all the people who pile into this thinking it's going up, get wrecked, they're disillusioned, and then the price ends up going back down to some like incredible level. And you're like, it can't possibly be this good again. It's probably here because this idea actually sucks. But then actually it just ends up being a good level, and it turbos off the bottom and outperforms ETH.
Can we talk a little about what's ripping now?
Yeah, what's ripping now?
Okay, so obviously there's some meme coins that are ripping, and
God bless Peanut.
so as like an average.
God bless Peanut.
The timing on Peanut could not have been better, because we were at your party.
Someone explain what Peanut is.
Okay,
before.
so Peanut is a squirrel
Right.
that was senselessly murdered by a fascistic democratic government. Democrat government. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm trolling. But there was a government agency that confiscated this beloved pet from a TikTok streamer who also happened to have a large penis and an OnlyFans account. You know, it's a tangled web.
I did not know that.
Did we
Yes.
confirm large penisness?
Look at the videos. It's and girls are like, oh my god, look at this, but they're just showing their boobs, right?
Yeah.
This guy was like, look at this squirrel, but like his fucking dick's right there, right? So it's the same thing.
Gray
Anyway.
sweatpants, man. Gray sweatpants. Yeah. Man's push-up bra.
Anyway, so Peanut, Squirrel, and Fred the raccoon were, I think, both sort of confiscated by some local government agency. Peanut bit one of the officers or something, and then they had to euthanize Peanut,
R.I.P.
R.I.P., to quote unquote test for rabies, as though this squirrel who'd been domesticated in his house for 3 years was just walking around with rabies. So Peanut was senselessly dead. He was championed by the right as like a symbol of government overreach. Some savvy people, like a mutual friend of ours, bought Peanut, I think, at like $2 million.
What's
He's
it at
marked
now?
in the memes.
2 million market cap.
1.9 billion, 1.8 billion.
Oh.
Yes, you know that website where it shows you how big of a bag you fumbled?
Yes.
Yeah, so his peanut bag is $39 million.
I'm
so-
assuming he doesn't have $39 million right now.
No, that's how much he's fumbled.
Oof.
And this happened 8 days ago.
Oh,
So
is he okay? Did you do a wellness check?
like he's doing pretty good.
Okay, so like, does he still hold some Peanut? Like, did he
So
make
he-
like 1 million and 39
yeah, so
was
he
capable?
rebought Peanut at around the price that I bought into Peanut at the first time, like around like 200 mil.
Okay.
And
So
then
he's still 10x.
He made hundreds
Yeah.
and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
it's funny because we were like at your party, and I forgot who I was talking to about it because I was kind of drunk. I think it was Eric.
You were on a good one, brother.
I wasn't.
We're all on a good one.
Great time. But I was just like, I think Peanut's a good meme, man. I think Peanut's a good meme. And then somebody was like, no, it's like too esoteric. Like people don't get it.
No,
I was
it's
like,
all over
it's-
Twitter.
I'm like, no, man, it's a good meme. And I went home, like, and I bought a bunch of Peanut. And then literally like 2 days later, boom, Binance listing.
Wait,
up 800%.
so hold on. That was literally on Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, it just 8x, 9x, like instantly. It was amazing.
Crypto is so wild.
I love this.
Crypto is so wild for this.
I both love and hate this existence.
Kevin Terrell wants to know what website is that you where you learn how badly you fumbled your bag.
Oh my god, I can't remember what it's called. Just
I need to get another beer.
Okay.
I think if you just Google like how big of a bag did I fumble or
Okay.
something, it comes up. Somebody will see it. Yeah, you can put in your address. You can put in like a sole address.
Oh yeah,
and
you
it'll
see-
like tell you like all the stuff you fumbled. It's pain. It's pain.
All right, if you're a
There
masochist.
might be stuff you didn't even know about in there. Like, oh,
Well, I kind of wanted to bring up, so, when these times happen and these meme coins start to take off, there's a decision you have to make as like a normal person who doesn't trade these things 24/7. Like, do I want to play this game, right? Do I even want to like get in here? And what I tend to remind myself is that most of these winnings that you hear is like 95%, 99% survivorship bias, right? You hear of all the people who like, fumbled a $39 million bag, but you don't hear about the 10,000 other people who just like lost 5K, 10K, whatever gambling.
yeah.
So that's one part that I remember. And then another part that I remember from like playing this game before is that it takes quite a bit of time to like look at these and keep an eye on them and sell them if they go up. And you kind of have to keep an eye on them, which for most people who have a day job, it's kind of not reasonable to expect. So that's where that's where I am now. Is I see this starting to kick off. It hasn't really kicked off in earnest, but I'm kind of like, should I just ignore it? Because one, I'll probably not make as much money as everyone else is saying they could have
Yeah.
made, and two, even if I had the chance, I just wouldn't actually spend the time.
And before Steven tells us how dumb we are for not
Yes,
playing,
please.
I want to add on my 2 cents.
Okay.
My 2 cents are that like when I play these games, like Peanut, I play them with such small amount of money that it's so insignificant in terms of like what I'm actually working on that like it takes up so much of my mind share for like $1,000, and I'm just like focused on this little thing, and I'm like and there's like actual work to be done,
right.
and like I'd rather go for something where I can put like big money on, and like I don't feel good putting big money on like Peanut, like had I'd be a billionaire, but like something small like that, like the president's name spelled wrong or something.
Well, Vibes offers similar 2 cents. Keep it simple, fam. If you're trading for quick gains, focus on base meme coins. Never mind. I only read the first part.
Focus on base meme coins.
He's like, I'm trying to focus on less things and capitalize on the things that I'm focusing on.
Keep
Okay.
it simple.
Okay.
It's simple, man. Because like I'm so different from like a lot of our audience. Like I like YOLO in to like Coinbase leaps.
You'd rather leverage the thing that you're.
Yes, like I'll take something that I feel high conviction on and go like heavy on that with leverage and hold it for 3 years
Yeah.
as long as I can on like an option trade and like not even diddle with it. And then like with like Peanut or GeoBoden or whatever, you literally have to just be diddling nonstop.
Diddling all day long.
Literally diddling all day.
And all night.
I don't even have the energy to diddle once.
All right. So now that we got that out, Steven, convince us why. I mean, should we play this game and take like, I don't know, 0.1% of our liquid net worth and see if we can jack it up to 10%?
Okay, so the other day when we had that dump and I was sitting there just like staring at my Lido bags and I was like, wait a minute, what am I doing? I like regressed to my former 110 IQ self, and then I was
Give
like,
yourself more credit than that.
I had to
All right.
go back to the wall and
Knock
bang
some
my
brain
head
cells
against
out.
it, yeah. And then when I came back, I was like, this coin is fucking stupid. I'm fucking stupid. And then I just turned around and I was just like, wait a minute. What? I'm like, what am I doing? I was like, what is going up? And this is like a wild concept to some people. It was a wild concept to me as like a kind of contrarian. Because as a contrarian, you want to buy the stuff that's down because it's so sexy to just like buy the thing that's down and fucking bottom tick it, right? And then you're like, yeah, I bottom tick that. And it's just so stupid. It's so fucking hard to do that. And then like you can literally just look, what is going up? You just buy the shit that's going up. You're like, what's going up? There's dip. You take cash, you buy things that were previously going up, and lo and behold, when the dip is over, these things like kind of keep going up again.
We were talking about that Saturday about what was the stock? App Lovin'.
App loving,
It
man.
just keeps going up, and
Yeah.
we're like, we should just keep buying it.
Yeah, where were you on that one, Nick? Because you were on that early. And first of all, Steven called Sezzle. Sezzle's the number 2 stock in the universe of stocks.
Yeah,
and
good call.
AppLovin is like the number 5 stock in the
Yeah,
universe
team,
of stocks.
I fumbled the bag for us on that one. We could have retired on this one. So,
Lovin'?
so I had kind of like not insider knowledge, but just industry knowledge on it.
Not
so,
go to jail knowledge. Yeah.
no, not go to jail knowledge, but just
Safe knowledge.
I knew that AppLovin was reaching out to Facebook's target advertisers, which is like performance-driven advertisers, e-commerce advertisers.
You, basically.
And we kept hearing how amazing the results were. People were going from spending $500 a day to $20,000 a day in a week and having good performance. And so we were just trying to get in touch with the right rep. Like, hey, we need an account. Like, we're big spenders. Like, let's get on here. And it was hard for us to get someone on the phone to set up an account. It took us 2 weeks to get someone on the phone.
Demand was too high.
And we get on the phone. They're like, listen, we need proof that you're spending at least $20K a day on Facebook. Because like that's the minimum we're allowing. We need proof that you're already spending this on these other advertisers before we even let you on.
You're like, bro, 20? Come on.
Yeah, and so we're like, here's proof, whatever, and then he's like, okay, there's still a wait list, and we're like, what the hell is going on with this thing? Like, just give us an account, let us start spending, and obviously we're realizing on this call, me and my business partner, like, how in demand this traffic source must be really good.
No,
and that was the
you
day.
knew.
That was the day of earnings.
This is
and,
literally like NVIDIA fucking chips.
and not 1.1% of us was like, oh, this is a publicly traded stock. Like we should probably like buy this stock because earnings are and you could hear
my
in the
God.
sales rep's voice just how much money they were making. Like they were just peaking.
They had the rich
froth.
guy laugh.
Oh yeah, they were so stoked, and they're so cocky.
Yeah.
And anyway, fumble the bag on that one for us guys. But anyway, we're here now, and I don't know. Maybe we'll play it
It's
again.
amazing how many bags we fumble that are just right in front of our face. Like nothing will ever be bigger than the NVIDIA bag we all fumbled.
We're like, man, this GPT is like the biggest
Yeah.
product of a
Talk about
generation.
AI and finance
were
for
we
like
doing?
2 fucking years and like don't go.
Don't even mention it. What are we doing?
Just so myopically focused on like Ethereum, like it's gonna go up. Anyway, but I digress.
Okay.
Wait, no,
so anyway-
I want to get back to this
Yes,
thing,
please
right?
do.
Because what you were alluding to is what I have observed, a few days ago, fortunately, but still that currently exists. Like the biggest sort of like paradigm shift that we've seen in crypto in a long time, right? So what did we see today that was huge?
Pepe, a
Pepe.
meme coin, got listed on Coinbase.
Robinhood.
Robinhood.
And what got listed on Coinbase?
Whiff.
Whiff.
Okay.
Dog whiff hat. I think Coinbase listed something else as well.
Something also big.
Yeah, but we're like a week out from Trump, and Brian Armstrong comes out on Twitter. He uses the F word for the first time, and then just lists 2 meme coins. Boom,
He dropped an F bomb or
balls out on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he dropped an F bomb or this
He
is
dropped
some
an
crypto
F-bomb.
thing?
No,
you're talking about?
he swore at somebody on
Wow.
Twitter. It's crazy. I know, wild, full F word. So when that happened, when Peanut happened, and keep in mind that CZ is out of jail now, right? CZ,
Oh,
the
he served his time.
founder /
Financier.
CEO of Binance. Yeah, he was out. By the way, I feel like he like marked the bottom. Obviously,
Yeah.
clearly, it's amazing. His release, I love it. But he's a mega chad. But I digress. So Binance listed Peanut last week, and that caught a lot of people off guard because Peanut was like a 200 million market cap when it was listed, right? And people were like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And there's like a couple of things here that have shifted. Like on the one hand, Coinbase is like listing memes now because I think they feel a little safer from like the idea that they didn't have Whiff before is like kind of crazy. That was like a
That is fucking insane.
multi-billion dollar massive volume.
One of the most popular
Yeah.
traded coins in the
Which
planet.
for a firm that makes money on trading fees, you would think.
Oh yeah, and I got a point on that later.
Okay.
Well, yeah, like I want to put a pin on that as well because like there's something interesting today on that. But the other thing is that like is the Binance thing because Binance didn't care about regulatory stuff before, right? And the major sea change here is that for like a while it was the meme that you get listed on Binance and then like all the whales dump on retail and the coin dies and it like sucks, right? But this like peanut listing, like you list this thing at like 200 million or something, and now like the market's different, right? We've been in like this PvP environment for a long time, so we're all conditioned for PvP. But now
Player
it's
versus
like
player.
player versus player. But now it's PvE, i.e., non-zero sum anymore. We've
Right.
got capital coming in, so your brain is like, oh, Binance listing. Coin and initially when Peanut was listed, I reflexively went to sell all of it.
Yeah, this marks the top.
Yeah, and it was like 550 million, and then I was like, hold on. And I thought about it for a little bit, and I was like, wait a minute.
But we had been in an environment where that would have marked the top.
Yeah, for a
you
long
know,
time.
For a long time.
For a long time. So Peanut ended up running from 500 mil at the listing, 550 mil or whatever. I think it peaked around half a bill. Ran to like 1.7, 1.8 today. So pretty big run up
Hell
from
of
the
a day.
listing itself. Like
Hell
you
of
could
a
have
day,
bought the
Peanut.
listing and made like 300 and something %, like buying the listing, which is like the most like dumb move.
Right. But it didn't used to be. So you're saying there's
Yeah.
like there's a
So
sea
is-
change.
so
There's
is
a
there-
sea change going on.
Hold
right
on.
now.
Is there something that exists in the market today that I think exists in the TradFi market where it's like when something gets included in the S&P 500, you can buy it? Like, is that like if something gets included in Coinbase, you just buy it?
I think we are on the cusp of that meta kind of happening now. Yeah.
we were looking that up on
We were looking
Saturday.
that up, yeah.
Yeah.
Nick
Once-
ran a chat GPT query on.
If anyone's curious, when something enters the Nasdaq 100, the 1 year forward returns or median return is about like a 10 to 14%. The min is -20 and the max is 30. Anyway,
Okay.
yeah,
Love that.
the algo, the algo, count on the algo to run the numbers.
But yeah, things are different now than they have been. And like I think a lot of people are going to be slow to observe and react to this change. And I almost like saw it in real time today with the market. Like I had fortunately been long Pepe going into today because one, the chart looked good. Two, like I like
crazy
I made a Twitter post last week about the Doge Pepe ratio, which is something I think about because I have the steak dinner bet with Armand.
You hold Pepe.
oh yeah, that's, William Hooper. By the way, I'm just pulling this from the chat. Steven's got a steak dinner waiting for him.
Oh yeah. So yeah, maybe Pepe is going to win that, but Doge went up so much too.
What's it at now?
I'm ahead now.
Okay,
It's
you're
fine.
ahead now?
I'm ahead.
Like either way, what I want to say is like you hold Pepe like I hold coin, and you trade coin like I would trade Pepe. Like you invert these things. Like you
I
love.
don't trade coin. I've never sold a single coin share.
Oh, I thought you were like in and out.
Never
Like,
sold a single coin share.
He's
Actually.
selling puts, selling calls.
Yeah, coin's a funny thing. It's like one of the few assets I've actually never sold any of
oh, interesting.
since I bought.
Interesting. Okay,
yeah.
I'm like confusing you with like maybe our entire Discord.
No,
that's like trading. in
I
and out.
hedge it with options, but
Yeah.
like I've never sold a share.
Okay.
But yeah, so Pepe ripped today. Like Pepe was up almost 60% at one point.
And a correction to the editorial correction, Troy B. Coinbase listed Pepe as well.
Oh, they did?
In fact, the real ones know Coinbase listed Pepe in 2023 and removed it because SPLC considers it a hate symbol.
See, I thought they had it this whole time.
Nah, apparently they took it down
Troy
at some
B.
point.
What a fucking.
Thank you, Troy.
I've missed Troy B.
Yeah, salute to you, Troy.
Thank you,
Miss you,
Troy.
bud.
What's up, Troy?
So yeah, so that's a big sea change. So Coinbase, boom, with Pepe.
Oh, the chat's hilarious today. So Josh Crawford brings up something that I wanted to bring up too. So he says, if you 10x one and the other 9 are zeros, you're back to where you started. If you don't 10x on any, you are really down. So I think I texted you guys. I was like, how do you guys play in this game? Do you put like a couple $1,000s on each, or do you throw like $20,000
Okay,
on
so-
like one?
Wait, hold up.
And
So that's a good question.
okay.
So that used to kind of be, there used to be this like weird meta in memes, right? Where it's just like, okay, you got to play these kind of low caps, you run them up, and then they kind of get like too big, and then, but it's totally different now. right now that like Binance and Coinbase and Robinhood, like they've shown, like Binance in particular has shown that it's willing to list like 200 million market cap memes. That's a big deal because there's like a lot of memes in this sort of like 9-digit space that have been like kind of de-risked, like stuff that's like 10 million market cap. It's like, yeah, good fucking luck, man. Like you're dodging like a million potential landmines, right? But you have stuff like like Pinot was a good one, but like right now one of the ones I like is like Mudang.
I
Like,
love that fucking hippo.
Like Mudang sitting at like what, like 300 million market cap, and normally that may have been like considered like previously that was like maybe that's too small for Binance and Coinbase won't touch it. Now it's like Binance probably gonna list that shit because like why wouldn't they? This stuff generates like so much fucking volume, right?
Yes.
So now I saw it in the market today. Like the market realized like, oh fuck, like the meta has just shifted to like we're gonna put like all of our money into just what are all the downstream like mid cap memes that are gonna get listed. And you saw like all this stuff start getting bid up. Like Popcat was the one where like I told you like I was massively levered long, like all fucking day, like right around all time highs. I was just like kind of going in and out of this thing, trying not to get wrecked, but trying to catch the breakout. And at the end of the day, I was like, fuck, I gotta close this. I gotta go to the pod. Like end of day between like New York and Asia, you get like fucked with all the time. It's just not a time you want to be in there. But then it just like sent on me. I bet you it's probably like back under. I bet it did fuck with people. But like there's a lot of stuff in the Popcat realm, like a Mudang, and another one I tweeted about and posted in the Discord about is a Fwog.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like frog, but Fwog.
Okay.
It's amazing.
All
chart.
right. I gotta
Yeah,
say
it
something.
sounds
This is
phenomenal.
like you. Okay, we've talked about memes before, and it's like it's fun, but like every time we've talked about it at this point, I just feel like so silly.
It's so dumb.
It's so dumb and so silly. But
It's
I will
not
say,
dumb.
I will say, you are like bringing me over and kind of normalizing it. I feel like 98% silly talking about it, and I feel 2%. This is like a potential future where like there's, I don't know, $500 billion being like just mixed around in this, like, if you want to call it an asset class, but I'm still feel silly talking
So,
about
like,
it, but
I think, look, history is going to look favorably upon Steven in this one, right? Because he was on Bankless talking about sort of the value of meme coins and how attention is valuable and these things grab attention, and I think that's correct. But there are still like a class of person or investor who like doesn't want to fuck with this.
I'm kind of there, honestly. Like,
And I'm there too, and like a lot of people are there. So like I want to hit the guarantees. A guarantee for me in this realm, it's like if you want to play the meme coin game in like a guaranteed way, in my mind, it's still Coinbase and Robinhood, because if they're listing these things when they previously wouldn't, like obviously like retail traders, like mainstream guys aren't going to come on chain. Being on chain is fucking ridiculously hard. Like it's so like unbearable for its UX, and like everybody who listens to this is probably like, no, it's not. No, it's actually so easy. Like Phantom is so much better. Like it's all fucking dog shit UX. You know what's much easier?
Yeah.
Trading on Coinbase.
Yeah,
Like,
Phantom's pretty
and
good.
you don't have to like bridge money to anywhere. Like you're just on Coinbase. You're just gambling. Like, and people
Yeah.
just like to gamble. They don't want to have to fucking bridge. They don't have to do anything.
You have to bridge to use Coinbase. You have to like fucking connect
you
your
send
bank
a wire.
accounts.
You send a
You're
wire.
gonna walk to the bank, send a wire. You're gonna talk to a human being.
Everything's
sit
a
at
bri-
a fucking desk. Like,
This
yeah,
is
come
like
on,
such an
Like,
abstraction, dude. Like you're
No,
just
it's the same thing.
Like
It's the
Steven's like
same
everything's a meme. Everything's a bridge.
Everything
Like,
is a meme.
Everything's a bridge.
Everything is also a bridge. If you're talking about like moving money from one place to another,
Such an
are
abstraction.
you gonna tell me it's like harder to like get like 100K? It's easier to get like 100K on Coinbase than it is to like load up like Phantom with some money.
Okay, I'm talking about the mainstream guy that's like never even used a wallet before. Obviously, Coinbase is easier.
All right.
So like,
Vibes brings up another alternative to our view, which is that it's just FUD and cope. Like we're just a little salty that we don't want to give it time, and we never hit a winner, and maybe that's just it.
But can I throw something out to you guys?
Yeah.
What is the difference between what you guys are saying now about memes and what like somebody said about Bitcoin in like 2011?
I guess there's not much. Like it's you know, it's an asset that doesn't necessarily have like a fundamental, and it's
No
the
fundamentals, complicated to use. Who
the
fucking
value is
figures
what
it
other
out?
people
I'd
say.
rather trade
Will other
this.
people buy it?
I can't even trade it on before Coinbase didn't even exist, so it wasn't even like I can't even trade it on Coinbase. You know, so I can't
Yeah,
trade it in
so,
the stock
like-
market.
Like I didn't. Okay, this like conversation is valid to have.
Yeah.
I'm like not even interested in it. Like what I'm interested in is like trying to understand where like the guaranteed money. Like I want to hit like guaranteed wins.
Yeah, it's the protocol. It's collecting the fees on
Yeah,
all these like
and,
losers
If
too.
Coinbase previously had more transaction fees than it does now. Like I'm talking in 2021, and now crypto's bigger. Like crypto is bigger. It has like more mind share and has lower fees. I feel like the fees are going to increase if they allow people to trade this silly shit.
Yeah. To put a bow on your previous point, I think what you were basically saying is that like the risk return is shifted, right? Like the upside is much higher because we have these like gateways like Binance and Coinbase and Robinhood who are more likely to list these smaller market caps. So I forget his name in the chat, but he mentioned 10x. That 10x could be a 50x or 100x now because
Yeah,
these gateways are more
I
open
think
to it.
everybody in the chat now has like a unique opportunity to comb through the CoinGecko listings.
Okay,
and just
can
be
we-
like,
let's talk
what
about that.
is Going to
Okay,
be
this is-
listed, right? Like,
Give us the
we're a
starter
week
pack.
into a new paradigm. Like,
So let's assume Eric and I tomorrow we want to gamble. We want to play a little. Where do I start? Like, give me like the starter filter of like how do I choose? Do I go on like Photon on Solana? Do I
probably like coin? I don't know. There's probably a better tool from this. Like, I don't do this because like I'm so fucking plugged in. I just like know what's happening. Like,
fucking in your
like,
veins.
I'm not like it's just like in my veins. So maybe I'm not the best for kind of researching this shit, but. Yeah, like CoinGecko as a category. Like I just have like ideas, right? And the meme ideas are dumb, right? Because before it was like, oh, like a dog. Do you remember the guy in 2021 who made like the dog coin portfolio? Because he was like, Dogecoin is going up, so I'm going to buy all the coins with dogs in them. And then people were like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But then like 3 weeks later, that guy made like $6 million.
Yeah, highest Sharpe ratio in all of finance.
He made like he made the most money of anybody the whole cycle with the least risk, the least downside, right? And that type of analysis exists in memes. Like for example, like you guys laughed at me when I said FWOG, but like Pepe is very hot right now. So memes they are mimetic, right? And people like see something go viral and they're like, what is analogous to this? What is like 1 degree of separation over, right?
Oh, is that analogous to Peanut and I wanted to buy Prenut? Is that similar?
Prenup.
Prenut.
So I
Or-
wouldn't
or-
say that that's analogous because
Different animal.
That's like a kind of like that's a pun.
You idiot.
Okay.
In my experience with the memes, and if anybody in the chat knows one that like breaks this mold, the puns never do well.
Okay. Thank you for that sell side
Right.
research. Appreciate that.
Yeah, this is deep analysis.
But like something like Moodang, right? You're like, oh, Peanut went viral. Here's this other animal who is beloved,
It's an animal meta.
right?
Yeah.
If Peanut is worth 1.8 billion, why is Moodang worth 300
I
million?
love
you know?
the reluctant. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is true though,
I
because
know it's
you're
true.
speculating on attention capture. It's a
I
real
know
thing.
it's true. I know
Attention's
it's true.
valuable.
That's the wild thing. That's
All right,
the-
give me the constraints of this like investment. So like, am I gonna play this for a couple months, and am I in and out for like a 20x, or what am I playing here for?
I mean, you probably have a sick window now for the next like month.
Okay.
So I would like wake up tomorrow and not sleep and just like identify like everything that's like a 9-digit meme coin.
Should
And,
start my marriage off real well.
like you could
just
could-
like
you could
not
probably honestly
sleep
just
trading
fire. You
coins.
could probably just blindly fire into any like 9-digit meme, honestly, and just be like, the market is like underpricing these relative to the expectations of them being listed. It's like almost certainly true. It's an interesting meta right now. But then you have like other stuff that's like kind of like fits in a narrow realm. Like I talked about like there's some coins on Base, right? For example, that probably are going to be listed on Coinbase, like because you get like Aerodrome, you get like Virtuals Protocol, which is this kind
What
of
about MFR on base? It's in the
MFR.
chat.
Oh god, MFR is probably interesting right now. I probably need to look at that. The problem with MFR that I had from the beginning and why I told everybody to sell the damn thing was it's just too like it's too narrow the audience. It's a very like Ethereum centric meme, and like Ethereum wasn't cool.
Boo Ethereum.
You know?
Boo.
Like Ethereum's going to be cool again, right? You're seeing like the Bitcoin of Ethereum is like punks, right? And punks are kind of sending. So like if punks send and punks do well,
Should I check? I
Am I
didn't.
break even?
well, you know, if you haven't looked at the
Are we
price of your
good?
punk in 4 months, you're probably going to still be disappointed at it.
Okay, I'll put that away.
So don't do that. But like you've seen the demand pick up, and then that's going to kind of go out. Like if like punks like reclaim their cachet, right? Then something like MFers that's like, oh, this is like more down the risk curve cachet. This
Yes,
is like,
I believe in this. I believe in this domino theory more than anything.
Yeah.
Which is like, Bitcoin has to go, then Ethereum goes, then if Ethereum goes, then like Ethereum ecosystem goes, then like everything
All right,
adjacent.
So step 1, bang head against the wall. Step 2, potentially open up CoinGecko for a little filter. I want to hear what the chat does. The chat's got any alpha on like how
And
to
also-
like
okay,
get the starter kit going.
I like that. And while the chat's getting riled up, I have a question for you guys, and this is probably mainly for Nick because like I know Steven is just like into his veins on this stuff, but like I think about like I don't care where I get the profits from. If I can get the profits from crypto or TradFi or whatever, I don't care. I just want them. I want profits. I want gains. I'm a maxi.
I agree.
I'm a
I
maxi
agree.
for
I agree.
gains, and it's also like risk adjusted gains.
Sure.
So like, when I look at Peanut going up 1,500% in 3 days, like I can't get that in TradFi. I know I can't.
Right.
But I know I can get like 10x's in TradFi because I've gotten it on CRS, Hood, Coin, like things that we've discussed on Irresponsibly Long and Alfalfa. I know I can get those, and I want to continue getting those. But like those to me were like sure bets, like high probability bets.
Yeah, but there is this like little bit of like a financial nihilism sometimes you got to lean into, which is like, you know, maybe you're never going to get that 100x or 1000x, or you need that 100x or 1000x to kind of like take the next leap forward. I mean, you don't probably, maybe we don't collectively, we don't have that because like you know, everything's okay, but like
I think that's what keeps the meme game going is because
But
like people need it.
I like to gamble. Like
So
I
do
go
I.
to Vegas and gamble very similar amounts, or you know, and
So do I. And-
Formula
and-
One,
But like
gambling.
you and I will probably play craps at its like max odds because we know that that's like the best way to play.
Right. So I guess what's the question though? Like, are you saying?
My question is like, what's the best risk-adjusted returns? Is it meme coins or is it like YOLO options on coin?
If you can do like TA on like mid cap memes that like are not like massively cabal manipulated, like the risk return is pretty good. Especially like right now, if you have this, like if you call up a lot of the memes like I just mentioned and you look at their charts, like it's very obvious that people are like recognized this, right? Like you can tell that people are just like twapping these things. Like people are they're just buying, right? They're going up. People are like, oh my god, it's like an exchange listing meta, and everybody's gonna kind of. So right now, I would argue like those risk adjusted returns are like insane. Like show me where else you can basically get 3x's, 4x's, 5x's, 10x's in the span of like a few weeks, and you can like define your downside, right? Like if you understand kind of some basic price action stuff. It's.
I think I'm gonna need like a third screen,
Can I,
fourth screen for this.
Steven, do you have the laptop? Because I want to ask you a question that's
do have the
specific to
laptop.
my world. So like, I think in the TradFi game, one of the best games to be in was MicroStrategy. And like call options on MicroStrategy have been, as Steven described, like 3x, 4x, 5x within a very limited time frame. And I'm looking now forward, like that's what has happened, but I'm looking forward now, and I'm thinking like, okay, so 10x Robinhood, nearly 10x Coinbase. I didn't play an MSTR, and that was to my detriment. But like, what can I do now? And one thing I'm looking at is the miners again, Bitcoin miners.
Okay.
Bitcoin miners, and what I want Steven to do is pull up like Hut.
Oh, that one's been printing.
Hut's gonna pain me to pull up because I've shielded it so many times.
Oh, and I when you shielded, I bought it and I still hold it. I still hold the call options.
like Hut I had like 3 different periods where I had 3 periods where I made a really nice gain and cut it, and then I had one bad trade with it and cut it, But in reality, like if I had held it any of the last 2 times I called it out, I'd probably be up bigly.
So like Nick, are you up on your hut despite the fact that you bought it much earlier?
Yeah, not only did I buy it much earlier, but I bought it when implied volatility was like, I don't know, 120 or something
You bought hot
ridiculous.
calls.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Buying
So-
calls on Bitcoin miners is like a special kind of.
I feel like
I
degenerate.
mean, I wrote it down. It was down, I don't know, 60, 70% at one point.
But
Can't get liquidated though.
But I'm yeah, that's what I like about options is you isolate your leverage. Like, so with Hut, they just reported earnings today, and I was listening, and I have some fundamentals for you guys, but I want Steven to look at the charts too.
So I'll give you the number real quick. We're up 127%. So I don't
Damn.
know if that's like good,
I love
but I think
calling up a chart I haven't looked in a while, and I just see price tapping my little rectangle that I drew out, and I didn't even look at it. I'm like, oh, there it goes, and whoop.
Okay, so I'm pulling. You're on the chart.
It's
Okay,
cool.
so another thing I want you to do
Just
is like,
smooth 200% in like a month.
yeah, that was a nice 200% on the common stock,
I
and
think
like,
why am I not as rich?
and
I
like,
must have bought it
What
when it was
I'm
up.
asking, what I'm asking you guys specifically now is like I'm looking forward. So MSTR is already gone, but I don't think the miners have necessarily gone. And if you look at this Hut chart, you compare it to like where it was previously, and compare MSTR to where it was previously. Like the miners have not had their full send
It's
yet.
funny you mentioned that. I was listening to a financial advisor on Bloomberg, and they were asking him about, so what do you think about crypto? Let's talk about that at the end of the interview. And he goes, well, we're allocating 1.5% of all client portfolios, and we're doing 1% in Bitcoin and 0.5% in Mara. And Mara has underperformed Bitcoin, since we started allocating, but we still feel good about it. And so, to your point, maybe something like that is hasn't really caught up yet.
Yes, is there a catch-up trade that's bound to happen? And when I was listening to the Hut earnings call, one thing they mentioned was that over the last period, the last quarter, they decreased their cost of energy from like 5 cents per kilowatt hour to 3 cents per kilowatt hour. Their gross margins have like increased, in kind, and now they're mining Bitcoin at like an average cost of $26K per Bitcoin.
Oh.
And I'm like, hold on, this dog shit business model that I put
Wait,
in
is this Mara?
was Hut.
Oh, Hut, yeah.
So-
Hut holds a lot of Bitcoin.
Okay, so
right?
this is what we
So
talked
Hut
about
has-
before.
Hut has 9,000 Bitcoin as well.
You said there's miners that mine Bitcoin the cheapest. There's miners that don't sell their Bitcoin. There was like
Yes.
another category, but like
Yeah. Who
the-
like you
HUD
can,
is the winner of the whole.
you can trade it on like who holds the most or who mines the most efficiently
Right.
or who's mining the most now. There's so many different levers you can like sort of isolate. But I think what I like about Hut, and I haven't even like dug deep on this idea, but I was just listening to the Hut call today. Their break even price is $26K, which is compelling because like if we're gonna give like a 4x premium to MSTR, and MSTR buys their Bitcoin at market price, and they just bought a fuckload at like 76K, but Hut is creating them at 26K. Like, couldn't they just do the same thing that MSTR did, which is like selling their equity or issuing a bunch of debt to like get more miners to like even get more Bitcoin?
well, I
at
mean, it's just
26K?
the capital expenditure, but yeah, I mean, they could, right? Or just even say they will, and it
right,
will.
and like if we're applying this multiple to MSTR, well,
right.
then you just apply the same multiple.
Steven's reading the stars. What are the constellations telling you?
I'm just looking at this chart and I'm just like sad because this is like the one trading setup you could learn for life that you could just do over and over and over again, and I wasn't paying attention to it because it happened in August and I was depressed.
All right, so what are you
And
seeing
I
now,
even
though?
drew it out. Okay, so this is actually like a thing. I don't think it's that hard to learn, right? Like this, there's a lot going on.
For
in
those
this
of us
stock.
who are just listening, join the YouTube at
Yeah, join
this
it. It's pretty
timestamp, and
good.
you'll see it on the screen.
Like you got a little like kind of inverted head and shoulders bottom here for you people who like chart patterns. I don't do that much, right? But like here, this move up to 21, it breaks market structure, right? You then have a retrace. You have the pump out of that initial demand. People get excited, right? They buy here, price goes up, and then you see like a sweep, which is an indication that all of these lows are weak lows because they fail to put in a high, and this becomes liquidity. So the patient person can often just set an order at the 50% level of this demand, right? So this is the demand that created that, all this liquidity, and like look where price went. It just fucking tapped it, and that will be the bottom for like ever. And you could have just set a limit order there.
Okay, so that's beautiful analysis. Thank you for that. Like one thing that I'm pointing out here is that like you were buying HUT calls when Bitcoin price was at 60K or something.
Right, yeah.
It's at 90K. Their break even is 26. Like this is a good time to be long miners, and like in my world, I don't play in the peanut game.
But this is a
But like
peanut-esque.
I look for the 10x's that exist in my world, and like this seems like it could be one.
That's true. So let's not live in the past here, because
Yeah.
like the fact that I missed bottom ticking this doesn't mean that it's over. Well, the setup is still there. Price doesn't move in a straight line. Price goes, it retraces, right? Like you do have you're gonna have like a weekly gap here, and you're probably gonna get a retest on Mara of like $20, and it's a round number. It's the mid range of last quarter, which is like a key area when you're talking about mid ranges of like quarterly levels. It's a gap. It's a little gap fill. So it's probably an interesting spot to look at it. And I think there's probably some other miners that look the same. What were we looking at before? HUT.
HUT.
So I bet you we find the same thing on HUT. Yeah. So HUT, you're like if this chart is like mega bullish, like this weekly, like the last weekly up candle, right? You see how this candle was kind of resistance?
Yep.
Doesn't cross the 50, goes down, and then it clears it. There's a good chance price comes back and tests that. You might not get the full gap fill, but you might get the retest of the top of that, like in the 22 or something. But you don't have to like pick it. You can just buy a top of it. You can buy lower if it looks like it's going up. Just buy more. But like there's still a good entry there, and this thing could run you run like 10x from here still. So not too late to get in that. What else is a miner like Riot?
Yeah, Cypher, CIFR is one that I'm.
CIFR.
Yeah, Cypher is it's like a
Haven't looked
smaller
at
cap.
Cypher. What does Cypher look like?
Ooh.
Okay. So Cypher is just kind
I
of.
like how we pull up these charts and you have all these markings from
Yeah.
like previous Steven
No,
was like,
no. These are just indicators.
oh, okay, these are automatic. Okay, I thought these were your like
Yeah.
scratch drawings, like on a cave. You go to a cave and there's like all these like hieroglyphic
Yeah.
scratch markings on
An
there.
ancient civilization used to live
What
here.
was he thinking then?
Like this is another setup I like, where you have like all this like liquidity built up, like all these lows that don't get ran. You have this nasty move, kind of wrecks them all, and then price moves all the way back through it. That's amazing because you know that low is probably not going to get tested until whatever whale bought the bottom of this has like distributed all of his stuff, right? So this is like go time. You just start like accumulating in here. You don't even have to overthink it. Like the lower it goes, you just buy it, and it's probably gonna just.
Chat
up.
has one more to
Yeah.
look at real quick.
What do we got?
Ticker symbol Wolf.
Oh, Wolf.
W-L-
Classic. What is Wolf?
W-U-L-F.
What's Wolf look like these days?
I just bought
It used
this
to be a
too.
different company, so careful on the chart there.
Really?
Yeah.
I think this is right. Terra Wolf.
This chart's clean.
Ooh.
This is clean. I mean, you can just buy this right now, basically.
I just did.
Yeah,
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, attaboy.
So, okay, keep going, Steven.
I love that. No,
Alright.
I mean, it looks good here. I
My
mean,
Schwab account has some dry pouty.
yeah. Look, there's always a risk that when you have this breakout of these kind of demand areas, price comes back and kind of runs some of these lows into it, and like 535 is probably a really interesting level on TerraWolf.
5 something.
535 ish. Like,
Did we
that's
just
probably
do
a good buy level.
CLSK?
No.
Okay.
Okay, we can do that one.
I thought we did. Wait, we didn't.
We did Cypher.
Oh, we did Cypher. What is Clean Spark? This is fun. It's like chart roulette.
Yeah. We're going to do
I
another.
haven't looked at miners, so a lot of this to me is like just pain. I'm like, oh my god, this is a nice one. Okay, you're like showing like all of my classic setups here. This is another setup I love. So yeah, we get the little change of character. You run that height. This is previous demand. I'm on a Mac. I forgot what all the shortcut keys are. Whatever. Anyway, I'm just gonna circle shit. this demand consolidation above demand, wipe everybody out, tap demand back inside the range. Like I just buy it here.
Yeah.
Like I just buy it once it reclaims the range because often it just goes from there. So
No,
So,
I
like,
feel cool.
sell.
Just
So I like these, and
I
I,
feel cool
and the
just
way that I like
multiplying
to
that.
play these is through call options.
Of
Yeah.
course, why not?
Because like this is the type of trade that it's like so easy to make a lot of money, and if you're wrong, you just risk what your call option. price
options
was.
are fun that they exist because you have flexibility to do stuff. For example, like if I want to buy this, and normally I might like leverage trade it. In the stock world, like I can just buy the stock, and if it goes up, I'm happy, right? But if it goes down and I own the stock, and I still think it looks good, well, you can tap into this like other level of degeneracy. Like you can start buying options, and you can either sell the stock and
man.
buy options with it, kind of like average into the options in a way. So
No,
you get
the-
exposure, and then you can kind of like average out onto the risk curve as it goes in your favor because like you think
There's-
lower is value for you and you want to buy there.
There's something that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I'm glad that it's us three to do this like kind of like deep finance talk right now because like Chem Carson came
Ooh.
out with a video that I think was like really valuable, and he's like the title of the video was like options are the underlying. Okay, and the idea behind it, I posted this video in the options thread in our Discord, but the idea behind it is like price, like the spot price, common stock price, is an aggregation of all of our views, right? There's like scenarios for every security, every marketable security that exists has like a predicted range of outcomes, right? So like if we're gonna say like Ethereum, right? There's some right tail where Ethereum becomes the settlement layer for the globe. And then there's some left tail where it becomes just old tech and it's useless.
Right.
And there's everything in between, right? And that ends up being its own probability distribution. And every asset has its own probability distribution. And when you look at a spot price, it's taking that in aggregate and it's like a one-dimensional view of like everything in its aggregation, right? But like with options, you have this like multi-dimensional view where you can like isolate your view and say like, I think it's going to go to this price because this is my view of it and it's going to go to this price by this time. Or you can like even take the other side of it, which I do all the time, where it's like, I don't think it's going to go to this price. And you can sell that view. So you have like this multi-dimensional sort of layer. And like Chem's point was that like, not only is this just like a cooler way to play, but like at some level, the tail starts wagging the dog where it's like, so many people are betting on one view, maybe on the right tail, where now the spot price has to respond to this because
Because there has to be, when you make a bet, there's someone else on that bet who has to buy the common or sell the common in order to.
and it's like changing the probability distribution in real time. And I thought this was like awesome in the way you described it, but also like just knowing you guys, I feel like what are you not doing playing this game because like this like caters to your minds.
It's too big brain. Like I would rather play in the drooler realm.
you want me to hit
For
you over the
now.
head with this 42 bottle just to make sure you're
I
playing in
mean,
your
please,
realm?
Like I could not be stupider right now when I wake up tomorrow.
Stupider's making way more money.
Like my to-do list for tomorrow looks like it was written by somebody who
In Cran.
I won't go there.
I want the.
That was a Michael Saylor song.
It was a Michael Saylor side. Like you both have these like expertises and little knowledge buckets, and I wish you would like the builder in me wants you to turn into a business somehow.
I want to.
I want you to publish your little spreadsheets and documents and calculators, and I want you to build some kind of like, I don't know, meme trading tool or something. I don't know. Maybe in the future. Maybe.
Buildle. No, I want to like.
Biddle.
I kind of want to like start teaching like a way to do this.
No, don't teach it. Just sell the spreadsheet.
Yeah, the spreadsheet's fucking sick.
Yeah. $99 one time. You get the spreadsheet. You get the calculators.
Ben Cohen turned a Google Doc into a $400,000 a month recurring business.
I respect them. You guys want to hear the risk levels?
Mad respect.
Yeah.
We're only at 0.6 risk out of 1.
What's
For
ETH at?
crypto market cap total?
No, for Bitcoin.
Okay.
1, which is like the most it could go instantly is $201,000, which
Love
did not
to
have
hear
that
that.
on my
Love to hear
bingo
that.
card.
That's
For-
one.
Makes sense. Makes
That's
sense.
one, but it doesn't go to one. What's ETH's risk level right
Okay, ETH's risk
Probably
level
like $214.
0.58.
now? How is
um,
it so high still? Jesus.
One on
Still
that
risky.
is 12,000.
Give me the point one.
ETH's range is like hilarious on his stuff.
It is, and it,
$12,000 to $600.
I think he needs to like update the model on that one, but whatever, whatever. I wish he would.
Is it going home?
Look, if your model is wide, this is like the pollsters, right? It's like, hey, it's within the margin of error.
Yeah.
I told you $800 to $12,000. It's within the margin of error. Why are you so mad?
But he kind of breaks it down to this one risk metric. Like he talks about all this shit, but he's like, I only buy on this one metric, and you got to pay. I don't know what his thing is now, probably like $100 a month or something. You got to pay to see this thing.
You got to pay to play, baby.
Yeah, and I like it. It's a good business. Prints cash every month.
It's a good normie model for sure.
Yeah,
It's
it
very
also
easy
is.
to follow.
Yeah,
It's
and you can get riskier or more conservative based upon your own views. You can create calculators.
It's like basically done off of moving averages, I think, and the farther the price is from the long term moving average, like the quote unquote riskier it is. But also, like, if I were to advise somebody who doesn't know what the fuck they're doing and they can't like read price action, that would actually be a good way to anchor yourself to how far can you fall,
right.
i.e., how risky is it up here, you know? So I don't hate it at all.
Yeah,
I
I've
think
always
it's- I
wondered
think
what
it's
like
good.
the TLDR is of technical analysis.
I think it's that.
I
It's
think it's
probably
that.
some function of like RSI and like percentage of move away from the 20-week moving
I like the
average.
fibs. I like buying in the golden pocket. I like that.
Don't know what that is, but sounds fun.
Tune into Irresponsibly Long.
Golden pocket, baby.
Mm. Oh
The,
yeah,
the golden pocket doesn't exist in turbo bulls, though. The golden pocket becomes like the point. So it becomes like the little pocket above your normal pocket.
fifth-
which is like,
the
why
fifth
does
pocket
why
party
does
pack?
that pocket exist? Like
it's
you
a
put,
fifth
like,
pocket
one,
party pack.
Put one key in there. That's the pocket.
Yeah, you have your keys, your phone, your wallet. You never put anything in the left pocket. Maybe your Listerine mint strips, and then all the fun stuff goes in your fifth pocket party pack.
Wow.
Oh
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, it's for cocaine. I see.
Yeah. yeah. Right.
I see.
Yeah, the guy who doesn't do drugs knows where to hide the drugs.
Now it makes sense. I get it. I could see that. Touche, Levi's.
Do you guys, as we potentially are entering this bull market, do you ever get a little frazzled? Like I still got shit in wallets, splayed all over the place, and I kind of want to have a little cleanup session
Oh,
just
dude.
to kind of like
Dude,
reframe.
You've read my mind about the thing I wanted to talk about
Okay,
next.
hit me.
So, 2 pieces of alpha on this. One, I was listening to Avi and Jonah's podcast. Was it 1000X?
Mhm.
And like Avi said something about how you cannot have too many wallets. Like if the more places your money is, the worse fucking decisions you'll make. And I was like, yes, this is so true. Like I firmly believe that if all of my money was in like one login dashboard, like everything, I would be like way richer right now. Because at one point last bull market, I had money in probably like 16 different places. Like if you count all the chains and like whatever. And like I've condensed that down a lot. And my goal is to get just like everything in my Interactive Brokers account. Like I don't even want to be on chain anymore. Like I'm fucking over it. Like I want to be in TradFi. I
So
want
my
just all
point.
my money there. I want to I want to be
Why
able
to
to
get
sell
pushback on
options
this?
against my shit.
Eric just wants an Eric only cam just so he can point to his face.
Why
like,
did I get pushback on this?
Because I'm not rich enough to do that yet, right? Like you cannot go in Interactive Boopers and just like long boop, right? It just doesn't exist, okay?
Okay.
And there's no options on
yeah.
Right.
anything,
Right.
Right? Like it'll be interesting to see what happens to crypto. You talk about the Chem thing. Like I feel like when you talked about that, like crypto prices would behave way differently if all of these coins like had options. I think.
Agree.
There'd be like a difference in that behavior.
It'd be so much better.
Anyway, so yeah, like condensing all your stuff, I think is really important. Like reducing mental clutter. There's so much chaos in the bull market that the last thing you need to think about is like all of the different wallets you have. Like, there's times you're like, wait, I don't even know how much am I levered? Am I not levered? I don't even know. My whole net worth could be 2x levered. I have no idea.
I was
because
actually
there's, like too much stuff.
This stuff is so like on point to me because I've dabbled on so many fucking chains and so many layer 2s and whatnots and like potential layer 2s. I'm trying to get airdrops that I lost track of all of it, dude. I lost track of all of it, and I probably have like $100,000 plus just
sprinkled
in the ether, and like I was gonna like try to hire somebody, like hire Elevate Bliss. Like, hey, can you like help me here? Like I forgot.
Here's all my seed
I
phrases.
just forgot. Please, like somebody that I trust. Please help.
Yeah, I mean, I think this weekend I'm gonna do a little consolidation thing and claim all the fucking things and.
Okay. The other thing I did today
Mm-hmm.
is I looked at everything in my portfolio, and if I wasn't like, yeah, this thing is gonna like crush, I just sold it. Like, most of this stuff is kind of like, not even like dust level, but like small potatoes, right? Because I'm like, why am I holding these 12 different coins?
Well, you had FOMO
know?
insurance. So you had a lot of FOMO insurance spread across everything. So I imagine it was like 2 to
I did,
5K.
but at a certain
Just
point in time, like the FOMO insurance, it expires.
The
Right?
term's
It's no
over.
longer covering.
you bought term, not whole life.
Yeah,
Okay.
like the FOMO is like I'm not sitting there, you know, with like Ether5 being like, oh my god, Eigenbeta is gonna pump eminently. Like it's just not like a thing I'm thinking about anymore. Like so we don't care about that. So at a certain point in time, your FOMO insurance expires and you're left with all this stuff, and you're like, oh god, and then you have this kind of like bag bias thing. What is the endowment effect, right? Where you once you buy something, like it's hard to
Hard to get rid of it.
right? And I felt that myself like the last few days with like all the Lido I bought. I was like, oh, I can't look at this great level, but like I was like, no, stop. Doesn't matter if it's going to go up from this level. It's like, will it go up more if it's just in something else, right? And oftentimes this is easy if you're in crypto because sometimes like it's like painful to like buy like a risky coin with like dollars, right? But if your money's already in crypto, like if you're already in a token, you're just putting it into another token. So what I did early this morning, which ended up being awesome, is I went on all my wallets and everything I didn't fucking love, I just sold it for Pepe. Sold all of it for
I
Pepe.
thought you were going to say sold it to cash.
No, fuck no. So everything on mainnet, I sold to Pepe. And then I went to Arbitrum, and I don't have a lot of money in Arbitrum, but I had like, you know, you got this like $100 here, $200 here, like a bunch of wallets, and pretty soon you got like thousands of dollars, right? But like that money was just gonna languish and go to zero. But instead, I was like, I'm just gonna find like a meme on Arbitrum that I think can like turbo send. And I'm gonna just put it all into a lottery ticket because the reality of it is I was gonna watch it go to zero anyway, but now I've condensed it into a thing that could like make something of itself, and I have like less mental headache. So like I sold all my Arbitrum desks and I bought Boop because it's the dog with the nose, and I was like, this is funny and it makes me laugh, and like maybe Robinhood lists it someday and it goes up 100x.
How is Pepe performing? And that's like an ETH meme. How are ETH memes doing it? ETH is not doing anything, but ETH meme is doing something?
And Pepe transcends ETH, and I think you can buy like Solana wrapped, you know, wormhole wrapped Pepe or something like that. I think Pepe sort of it definitely trades with ETH a little bit, but it also kind of transcends it. So, but if ETH was turbo pumping, like Pepe would also be doing better. Like Pepe shouldn't be like same market cap as some of these Solana
Right.
memes, but like it is because Solana's turboing and like ETH is a bunch of people waiting for ETH 3.0 in 15 years or whatever. It's gonna come
Oh
out.
god, I wish Armand was here. His texts this morning about ETH were just fire. They're so hilarious.
Yeah.
He's just
He has to be here because
oh yeah.
you can't just read
I'm
that.
not gonna read his text, but next week when he's here, we'll
Look,
fire
that's
him up.
fine, but like Armand is just the New York Times columnist writing "I told you so," right? But I'm there in the trenches, like just
Hey,
changing all
he
my
is in the
money and
trenches
piling
too. He
on.
like 10x this morning.
Did he? What did he
Yeah,
buy?
I don't know. He bought some Sol Pepe thing.
Good for him. Wait,
Yeah.
that weird thing that wasn't even a real coin?
I don't know. I believe it.
Hmm.
Where is it? We have two threads. We have a friend thread and a Alpha podcast
Thank
thread.
God.
So we
That was
can,
one of the best things. we
yeah,
ever
yeah,
did.
great idea. So we can be friends while also still have
What did he buy?
handle pod business. I don't know. Doge Sol
Doge Soul?
10x.
What the fuck is Doge Soul?
He's on it. He's winning.
I I feel like that's a meme that you don't deserve to make money on if you buy. Okay, you know
I
what?
feel like
has been-
you just
you
feel
know-
that way because Armand said it.
No, that's just silly. Like I feel like you just got lucky if you did that.
Okay.
You know what's a funny meme is like there's Dogecoin, right? But there's also Doge, like D period O period G period E period, like
Oh.
Oh, like
Department of Government Efficiency.
Oh, nice transition, by the way.
That meme is crushing.
Okay.
Like I bet you the Department of Government Efficiency meme is probably like wrecked.
Are we gonna
even
talk about that?
Dogecoin or
Can we
something.
please talk about that a little bit?
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. Should I do the thing and then we can talk about it?
Do you wanna let's make sure. Do we have anything else we want to cover?
Okay. I mean, there are
Wait,
some.
Hold up. I wanted to do a segment though, because like I put out a thing in the Discord. I was like, hey, let me know if any of you guys have questions tonight, because we're gonna talk about money a little
Dude,
bit.
there's a.
And then people wrote like 100 fucking questions. So I was like,
I mean,
the people
we could
want
create a
the-
fire round on meme coins in the chat if you want to
Okay,
do
let's
that.
do
Or
a lightning meme
wanna
coin
do a
lightning,
lightning
round.
round, or what do you wanna do?
Let's do some questions.
Lightning round.
no, this is a lightning round.
This
They
is a
just
lightning round.
send tickers.
Yeah, and
I-
you give a lightning round.
Yeah, like
I
not a
was-
fucking
People wrote
treatise.
deep questions in the Discord.
No,
Like,
There's
a
no
light
such thing as
intelligence
deep questions
This is
about
a
what we're
lightning
no,
doing.
they
round.
are. They're good questions.
Okay, this
All
is
right.
a lightning round.
We should answer some of them.
You want to do the lightning round first? You want to
All
talk
right,
to?
fine. Let's lightning round. What do you want?
Okay. $Andy.
Oh, I have to look it up. I own Andy. I
Okay.
log Andy.
Okay. Bullish.
Andy fucks. I love it.
Got it.
Yeah. Bye.
Andy-
Don't even have to pull up the chart.
Andy, good. Buy more. Brett.
Oh,
$Brett.
love Brett. Brett's Coinbase beta.
Okay.
It's a decent argument for selling all of your Coinbase stock and buying Brett.
Vibes, you put 7 tickers in here, so I'm just gonna pick one random one. TN100X. I don't know what that is.
TN100X.
Pick another one.
Wait, what? Is that an actual ticker?
I don't know. I think it is.
Is that on Dex Screener? I don't
Pick-
know.
pick a
me
different
some of
one.
the-
Oh, these are all base ones. Moxie is another one.
Oh,
here.
I love that he's giving base ideas. Like I need more base ideas. Moxie. So Vibes is like the. I do like I love buying base memes. Like I would almost rather own base meme. Like if you had a portfolio of base memes and a portfolio of ETH, there's like a 0% chance that ETH outperforms the base memes, right? Because
Oh, God.
the only way ETH succeeds at this point is like it's like through base. Like base is like ETH's life raft. They're like, please base, do something cool. Be fucking Ethereum Solana, right? And then if base does something cool, then all the base memes are gonna crush. And Brett's probably like, it's like $1 billion market cap versus 400 something billion. So that's gonna tear. And like Brett is probably one of those memes in my category of stuff that's definitely going to get like a listing. And if it's a meme on base, you have this like Coinbase listing potential, which is
Right.
like kind of. I feel like there's a lot of stuff on base that's being underappreciated right now that's like almost certainly going to be listed on Coinbase, but because like ETH is still such like a it's
All right.
so embarrassing to go home to Thanksgiving
Lightning
and tell
round.
your
Keep
family.
going.
you,
What about
own
$sign
ETH.
DGen?
That's a. I haven't looked at DGen in a while. That's like the Farcaster thing, right? Wait. Oh wait, I typed in $. Boomer alert. God. What does DGen look like? Oh, hi.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah. It's kind of like a buy candle. That's one of those candles where you're just like, yeah, I'll buy a little bit.
Okay. Buy a
kinda
little
hard
bit. Watch it for a bit.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to size it from like a risk perspective when it moves that much. But it's like you buy candle, you set buy orders maybe at like the 50% of that move, and then you enjoy it. But yeah, that looks
Okay.
looks,
I
looks
got
promising.
5 more.
What you got?
Okay. Cheems. CHEEMS.
Oh, I saw people talking about Cheems. I see a lot of people talking about Cheems. I actually haven't looked into it at all. Is that a Solana meme?
You're asking the wrong
Yeah,
dude,
dude.
brother.
It's a lightning round.
Wait, like why are all these Cheems like zero? I see no liquidity here.
Hmm.
Do the next one.
CHEEMS.
Yep. No, those look right.
You guys giving us like Uber tier shitcoins?
Okay. Next. Zin.
Oh, Zin, the largest pumper after the election. I feel like Zin pulled a Lido.
No way. It's only a $30 million.
Like
market
mega
cap.
pumped and then. Yeah. Like mega
Damn.
pumped and, wait, no, that's not it. Oh, that was the election pump.
Burj Khalifa.
Okay. Yeah, it looks interesting here, actually. Yeah. I say if you were going to long Zin, you long it here.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then 2 more.
What do you got?
Cost. like as in the Costco hot dog.
Costco hot dog, is it back?
I don't know.
I might still have some.
I hope
Costco
so because
hot
I did.
dog.
I definitely have some from March.
There's no way this thing is still alive, is it?
I think it's dead.
It looks weird. Oh,
Oh,
okay, we're turboing. Wait, what happens if I zoom out? Oh, that. All right, okay. It's worth a lot.
$1.50 is
Worth a-
$1.50 on the table.
worth a lotto
I hope
ticket.
so.
Bro, you're gonna make a lot of money if it goes to $1.50. Yeah,
Okay.
I could definitely see this like doing something dumb, but I wouldn't put a lot of money in it. This seems like a good like $100 lotto ticket.
Okay. Last one from the Gem Hunters thread in the Discord.
What we got?
AI16Z is the name of the
AI16Z.
of the.
Like A16Z, but
Kinda.
AI16Z.
I think so.
I see. Oh, I've seen this. This like anime girl with the huge bazongas.
Fresh chart.
That's a good look. Okay,
Okay, this is the best one by far.
Love this one.
but I have to ask, like, is this like a fair trade organic token? Is there some cabal painting the chart that's gonna dump on me? I've seen this meme a lot actually, but I actually haven't looked into it. And I don't know what's going on, but looks pretty pumpy. Looks pretty pumpy.
The A16 boys, Ben Horowitz and what's the other guys?
Mark.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're involved,
Mark.
then yeah, it's a buy. The problem with memes,
They're
these
quite
days
vocal
is-
these days.
Yeah, the cabal, they're getting smart, right? They like use multiple wallets and shit. They use bots. They paint the chart up so it looks like this beautiful, like safe thing, and then they just FSH you in one shot.
Yeah.
All right. I've exhausted most of the.
Okay.
There's more in there, but I
Can we
feel like-
can we hit a couple of Discord questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't want the Discord to have dropped questions in vain, so I'm gonna pull some stuff up here because I know people. The bull market's back on. People got a lot of questions.
Everyone wants to know what did I miss? He said fart is touching all-time highs, and the
yeah.
silliness
Fart.
continues.
AI versus animal memes. Who's the next incremental buyer? Institutions versus retail. The next incremental buyer for these memes, like we talked about, is retail on exchanges. Like you're advanced retail because you know how to use like on chain. But like in a world where like PvP returns and everybody just wants to buy these things, much like Eric and his friends only want to buy crypto like on interactive brokers. There's like a lot of people who only want to buy memes on
Coinbase.
and that strategy works bad in PvP market when there's no like exchange retail, but now there is that retail, and now you do have like actually like a buyer. that
So
you
what?
can
We
flip
running
this
this game
stuff
till
to.
Christmas, basically.
Christmas-ish seems like a good bet. It's the same shit happens every year. Like
Go home to Thanksgiving.
you sell in May, summer's fucking terrible. You pump in Q4, you sell before Christmas, and then everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's dumping into January. What's happening? Oh my God, Trump's being inaugurated. Why is that a sell the news?" And then like it's like honestly, it's comedic like how similar it is. We have to all remind ourselves to like pay attention this time. Let's see what else have we got in here. Profit taking strategy with memes. Oh my God, you could do like a whole thing with that. Memes, you got to look at like the market cap, like market caps for shelling points. Like you get like 500 million, 1 billion, 2 billion. If you make it that far, you kind of like front run those. The best thing I've seen with memes is like fib extensions. Like if you learn how to use fib extensions and do an extension from like previous demand, those levels are interesting. I use those as targets.
You should do like a video on this.
Yeah, that would be a whole deep dive thing.
You just do a loom.
I won't go too.
Do a video on irresponsibly longs.
Drop it in the Discord.
Too deep in that. Eric Pruncher. Eric Pruncher threw like a real good deep one in here for Armand when we have an actual Von Deeper. So we should
Yeah, save
bookmark
it.
that one and save it. Got to remember to look at that. It's a good one. I like that. How long do you keep longs open, Marty? I mean, minutes, days, hours, weeks, all of the above. Risk scaling out. How to actually DCA out. Everybody always wants to know like when to sell. It's kind of hard, man. It's not like an easy thing. Like the best thing you can do is just like if you're up a lot of money, just like sell something.
Yeah.
And then if it goes up more, just sell more. And if it goes up more, sell more. And like don't sell everything, but just keep selling.
But always leave a runner.
Always leave a runner if you believe in it. Yeah, you got to always leave a runner. Otherwise, you sometimes buy back in at the wrong time. But yeah, the DCA out strategy is pretty good. Some people do good just like walking around and observing the world around them and having conversations with people and being like, oh, I should sell now. And oftentimes those signals are pretty good. Some people use like I think the Ben Cohen risk signals are good, or like you can make this at home, right? Just familiarize yourself with like long-term moving averages, like the Bitcoin 200-week moving average, right?
Love it.
Price at some point, no matter like how much you don't think it will, it goes back to the 200 week. So at some point we're going to be trading and you're going to be way up here and the 200 week is going to be way down there.
Pull
and
up
you're
the
gonna be
200.
like,
Can you pull up
nah.
the 200 week? What does that look like right now?
That's a great question.
I always have it up on my.
Was it like 30K right now? 25K?
Probably depressing, but
Yeah.
let's see.
There was a point in time where I looked at the 200 week and I was like, we are never going to the 200 week ever again. And we just nuked through it. And that was scary. Oh, I got stocks up here. Hold on.
200 week is at 40K. 40,500 ish
Damn.
on Bitcoin.
Yeah, boom, right there. So that's not going to go up that much. Like even if we go out into 2026, that's going to go to like 53K. So, something to keep in mind
Yeah.
when we're trading at $200,000. Something to keep in mind. So, my DCA strategy personally isn't so much like I trade price action. I do look at what price is doing at any given time, and I trade on the basis of that. It's not something that you can just do, so it's kind of not useful for you guys. But one thing that I do as a strategy that's helpful. So if you're selling your altcoin and you're selling it into Bitcoin, it's easier to do. If you're selling your meme into Solana, it's easier to do. If you're selling your crypto, but you're just selling it into like tech stocks, it's easy to do because you don't feel like you're selling into cash and that you're going to miss out on gains. Like missing out on gains is the most painful part. So you can sometimes just like hack your brain by just selling into less volatile stuff, like less risky stuff, right? And even in the middle of a bull market, it's still kind of cool. Like you book gains on like a meme coin, sell into Bitcoin, right? And then if Bitcoin goes up, you're happy. But if everything nukes and Bitcoin goes down 1% and all the altcoins are down 14%, you have the optionality to take your Bitcoin and put it back into some altcoins.
Dude, I was watching Ben Cohen, one of his like public videos on YouTube recently, and one thing that I found illuminating was that somebody asked him like, "What do you think about the price of ADA?" Or just name something, name any token, and he's like, "Oh, I think it'll go down to this many Sats."
He always
Like,
compares it to
He
Bitcoin.
denominates in Bitcoin, whereas we are always pricing in dollars. And I feel like if you denominate your portfolio in Bitcoin as like an exercise, you're probably going to do a lot better.
Agreed.
Do you guys denominate anything in your life in Bitcoin? You're all dollar people still?
I denominate in energy, in barrels of oil.
Okay, Arthur.
No, I don't. But I thought maybe I should. After watching that video, I was like, that like actually makes more sense. So
How many houses can you buy with one Bitcoin? Point two. Point,
home, yeah, well,
point
homes
zero
are,
one in San Diego.
homes are getting cheaper in Bitcoin.
It's true.
We know we're not in a mega bear anymore because Sailor's buying and he's immediately like in profit.
Yeah.
not immediately.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you want to bring it home?
yeah, I do.
We did. We got all the rapid fires. We got all the questions.
I think
Love
so.
that.
Unless there's any other questions that you got here, I think we're good. So
I mean, we could talk about this for another 8 hours. It's like crazy times.
okay. Well,
But-
let's give a shout out to our sponsor, Magic Spoon. So go to magicspoon.com/alfalfa. Use the code alfalfa at checkout. You get $5 off the variety pack. Like to eat it as a snack, straight out of the box. Great flavors, high protein, and less sugar. I think that's the key. 4 flavors are cocoa, fruity, peanut butter, and frosted, kind of like those childhood cereals that we all used to eat. Most of the packs have 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, 4 to 5 grams of net carbs, about 140 grams per serving, and all the friendlies you can think of: keto-friendly, gluten-friendly, grain-free, and soy-free. So go to magicspoon.com/alfalfa. Use that code. It supports the pod, supports Magic Spoon at checkout. And if you or the kids don't like it, they'll give you your money back if you don't like it. But I'm pretty sure they will. All right, guys. Thanks for supporting the pod, Magic Spoon. Love you guys.
Thank you, Nick. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Great read.
Okay, we're gonna talk about Doge, as in the Department of Government Efficiency.
What a timeline.
So
What a
the
timeline.
news today was that the heads of these of this quote unquote department is Elon and Vivek, and I saw a good take on it. I forget who's the dollar milkshake theory guy.
Santiago.
Yes,
Oh, Brent Johnson.
Brent Johnson. He
Brent
was like,
Talked about
okay.
him in a while.
He was like, okay, there's two things that will be true. Elon will most definitely try to rip as much as possible. And Vivek, the thing that's most definitely true with him is he'll try to ingratiate himself with the world's richest man to try to, proliferate his 2028 presidency run.
Yeah, kind of a base take.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not wrong.
not wrong.
Also not a bad strategy if you're Vivek. Although I think JD Vance might have the legs on him.
Okay, so my question to you guys, I don't follow this politics stuff very much, but my question to you is like, this is music to my ears, right? Like you guys asked me, like, what's the thing that I care about in the government? I want to like cut this bloated bureaucracy. It seems like that's what they want to do. My question is, how much efficiency do you think they'll actually gain? Like they're going to put in Elon and Vivek, who I consider like two very smart guys, to like actually cut out some government bloat. How much effect do you think they'll actually?
So they're supposed to
get-
run until July 4th, 2026. That's when this department
Oh, it's got
starts
like
now.
a
It's got an end date.
explosion date.
I think it's like a fraction of what they claim. And to be clear, I'm 100% for this. I love it. I think it's great. But it's an advisory board that's outside the government. And so let's say you're the Department of Education or Department of Agriculture or some, government agency that no one's ever heard of. And Elon and Vivek say, you're worthless, shut it down. You'd be like, cool, thanks for the letter, and throw it in the trash.
So
and
they don't
just-
have any actual.
no, absolutely not. Like,
It's a charade.
to take down a government agency or stop a government program, the executive branch could do an executive order and try to like string ham it, like constrain it in some other way. But in reality, it takes a act of Congress to
Okay, but they could
take away the budget.
They could be sort of the people.
Influence, I think, is
that
the main
are
thing.
Pushing it.
Just shine a light on the scum, and hopefully the scum just is like, I don't want to be in the sunlight, so just like, I'm out of here. Like I don't want my name on this program. I want a job. Like I got a family. Like
Okay, hold on.
I'm out of here.
You used that particular word, scum, which I like, because my question is like, how much of our government spend is actually like scum, like fraudulent scum, and like nefarious? Like I don't know. Like here's an example. I think it was Steven or you or somebody pointed out to me that the Democratic presidential campaign funds, like $1 million worth, went to like Oprah's production company. And it's like you're literally taking like donor funds and sending it to Oprah. And like that should probably like be shot. There should be a light shine on that.
but
Yeah.
also not government funds.
Right,
It's
not government
taxpayer
funds.
That was like
Not taxpayer-
donations.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like within government, I'm sure stuff like that exists.
I mean,
think
so
you-
one might argue it was a sign of how these people might behave in government.
Yeah,
But-
so I
but
guess
not-
what
but
I'm
not-
saying is, how much of this do you think exists in government? Because I'm guessing it is a percentage that we can like.
I think it's more like, okay,
Identify.
I want to dig a hole down the street, and what is the effect on, like, I don't know, some obscure fish that lives like, 10,000 miles outside of here in the deepest part of the sea, and should we conduct a $10 million study to study the effect before you can dig this hole? Like, that's probably more what they're
Okay, what
gunning
about
for.
like military spec? Like you like see military spend like $600 on a screw, and then somebody who go get it at Home Depot for $1.
Yeah, I mean, the Department of Defense may be like, we don't care, right? Like, I don't know. They never passed an audit before, so I imagine that's got to be, I don't know what our defense budget is every year. $1 trillion, I don't know, some more. But there's probably got to be a lot in that procurement process.
I mean, this is what happened. Like the Kamala campaign, I think, was like a good example of what happens when there's sort of like a lot of money and there's not really like a bunch of accountability, right? Because you basically have this sort of with the campaigns, you have this like consultancy class, right? These they just like absorb like all this money, or the advertisers or whatever. They just soak up all the money, and they don't deliver any value because there's this like sort of principle in economics, which is like when you're just spending money that's not yours, you're not very discerning about it. And like to be in a marketplace where somebody is spending somebody else's money is like the best thing you can be in a business. Like it's a great gig, especially in like the service business, right? And you saw this the funniest example of this was like when she went on the Call Her Daddy podcast.
That was a great example.
Yeah, they built like a custom set in a hotel room to go on the podcast, but it was just like they put a sign up in the back and some plants and bookshelves, right? And some chairs, and it was like boom, $100,000. In reality, like they probably spent.
I mean, ours cost about $100,000. I mean, I could see it.
What did they spend like $10,000 on the furniture? Maybe call it $20,000 on the furniture. But then like there's some firm that absorbed like $80,000. They mark up the furniture costs. They bill like hours. There's meetings. There's all this, and it's like this is kind of like how bureaucracy works in a lot of ways. This is how we got to UBI, right? Because there's this question of like, okay, so how much of every dollar for like welfare actually goes to helping poor people? Like if you put $1 into the system, what do they get? Like 20 cents, 25 cents or something? Like it's definitely not even 50. I would bet.
I guess like what you're saying is correct. We all agree on that. Would shining a spotlight on this stuff have any impact on like making it more efficient?
I hope so. It's like a form of
shame is a big
accountability,
thing.
right?
Shame is a big thing. Public shaming is effective. It is. Especially if you're legitimately doing something.
I feel like Elon
shameful.
is a great public shamer. He's like so made for this.
But like, is his message getting diluted of all the things he's going to shame? Like, there's probably 1,000 things. I wonder if it'll work. I hope it does. The other thing is like, if Trump can put in heads of these government agencies and be like, your job when you get in there is to actually shut it down. Like, I wonder how much power a certain government agency can do to just strip everything down and get rid of it. Like, how much power does the boss have to fire everyone? Like, let's say you were the, Secretary of Education. Can you just be like, you're all fired today and shut it down? It'd be curious to see how this plays out.
What about in Congress too? I mean, we have like a majority now.
Yeah, but you kind of already seeing this. So there's like a traditional conservative pushback that's maybe not in the populist camp. So I think Senator Thune got replaced McConnell as the Senate Majority Leader, and that person decides what's on the docket and kind of what goes through the Senate. And previously, he's not been open to Trump's policies, right, and his playbook. So it could end up being like a intra-family feud where, you have these traditionalists or neocons or however you want to call them who kind of push back against this effort. Hopefully it doesn't. Because
if you were going to be an optimist, you would say, well, we have a majority and this stuff is actually possible now.
Yeah, and
If there was like a split Congress, then you'd be like, no chance.
Yeah, and there was one thing that Elon mentioned in one of his town halls. I saw a clip of it, and I thought it was important. He said, we're gonna fire a bunch of these employees. We're gonna give them like a 3-year severance. So it's not like we're, the deficit's not gonna immediately decrease. We're gonna get rid of these people. We're gonna do it in a good way, and they'll end up finding a job within 3 years, I imagine, and everything will be okay. Because what I was wondering, I was like, shit, if he cuts $500 billion,
we go to
like mega recession.
yeah, we go into recession and deflation, right? But I think maybe the way he's doing it could be useful. But I guess, yeah, I mean, I'm hoping they can put enough light on it where start ripping shit out of the.
I mean, if you just zoom way out, it's like how much mind share of like the American public is just like trapped in bullshit like structures that don't really accomplish much, and they just like collect checks, right? That's like a huge drag on the economy.
I was also thinking like, okay, imagine the procurement process in the Department of Defense, right? Imagine in every government agency there's something like over 400 of them. Is there a world where you'd be like, all right, fine, instead of just being pissed off, I'm gonna get even. Remember the movie War Dogs?
Yeah, I love that movie.
Great movie.
They go up on the like government website and there's like apparently you can just like apply, like you can just bid,
Jonah Hill just starts bidding shit.
bidding on all these arms deals, and he's like, oh, I guess the government needs like 10 trillion bullets. Like, let's find a way to deliver it. Like,
He was picking up the scraps. That's
He's-
my game on the options chain. He's literally
yeah.
doing that.
And I'm like, man, I wonder what the government contract is for trash bags. It's gonna be massive, massive. Like,
okay, so
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question.
like, I got a supply chain in China. Like, I could probably like ship them some trash bags or whatever.
Let's
Trash cans
presume-
too.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
Let's presume that let's like take the optimistic view. Let's say that Elon et al. Are able to actually like cut some of this bloat in government bureaucracy, which like has, as Stephen pointed out, has just been like growing forever. That sort of like resets us back to a baseline that's good. What kind of positive impact would that have on our economy, the U.S. dollar, reserve currency, et cetera? Like what are like the benefits that come from this?
I guess the biggest one would be the bond market, right? Like, you'd expect the bond market to react if it was a material enough.
The biggest thing in the long term is that, okay, so right now you have this like pipeline of people who just become like professional
Bureaucrats.
semi-useless people.
Yeah.
Okay, bureaucrats, that's a better word for it. And some of them are useful, right? Not all these people are bad, but like for the most part, it's this like blob that just like you just get absorbed into, and then you don't like have to perform all that well. You just get absorbed into it, and then you pay money, and all these people just in these agencies, they just exist to sort of just sustain themselves forever, and they're not like charged. They're not like held accountable for solving anything. And you have all these people who like they go through this pipe. It goes downstream. Like they go to these colleges, right? And the colleges, they're pumping out these people that are kind of useless, but they go into government, so it's like fine. So in that sense, that they're useful. But like if the colleges like had to make you do something that would like earn you money, i.e., like you created value in the economy, then that changes like everything. Like people can't go get these degrees and just get it.
I'm curious, like, do you think there's something to this about geographic density? So all these agencies are in D.C., Virginia, whatever, Baltimore.
Of course, they want to be as close to the spigot as possible.
Right. So one of the best things I heard, I would like to try this out as a test, is like move these government agencies and spread them out across the country. Like throw random government agency X, put it in Indiana. Take government agency Z, throw it in Austin, Texas. Take government agency Y and throw it in Seattle. And just, mix.
Just like throw the Department of Defense into Tampa and see what happens.
To what effect though?
To one effect, maybe 75%. I'm just like, I'm not moving to fucking Indiana. Like, I'm out. But also just, I think part of the criticism of the administrative state or the deep state is that it's partly one party, right? And you look at Washington, D.C., and you look at the makeup of the population, it's primarily a Democrat. So if you could spread these agencies geographically, you might have a more indexed population that represents the United States.
That makes sense.
And I don't know, it sounds good. I don't know.
I haven't heard that. Too.
And you certainly can't make the argument that, well, for productivity and efficiency, we need to be in the same city when half these people are probably working from home still.
Yeah.
So like,
I mean,
fuck them. Like,
I like
move
that
them,
as
move
like
them in a different city.
low-hanging fruit. I mean, that sounds like something that's feasible. I think I want to follow up on Stephen's point, which is you were saying that like most of these government bureaucrats, career bureaucrats, are not like going out in the world and producing stuff. In your mind, is the bigger cost opportunity cost of like not having workers go out and producing stuff, or is the bigger cost actual cost in terms of like just government bloat?
It's the opportunity cost for sure. Because like the opportunity cost is always like, well, yeah, sure, you could save that money, but in reality, like capital like always has like a market return on that capital. So it's not so much that you have to spend that money, but that money could go here and earn like a 20% annualized return on it, like that type of idea, that misallocation of resources in like monetary
Are you
terms.
talking about privatizing? Like essentially like, hey, let's instead of this agency regulated, let's move it to the states at the very least. right? And
I mean,
then
like
and then maybe
federalizing stuff to the, like one of the biggest litmus tests for me with people is when you talk about eliminating the Department of Education, right? Because there's a certain class of people who's just like,
no one will be able to go to school.
How will you educate people? And it's just like,
I think most
okay.
people don't know when the Department of Education was initiated. I mean, wasn't it under Carter that like it was?
there's like a whole there's a whole history of it. Like we could do a whole episode on this.
It's
right?
funny. I've met a previous secretary of the Department of Education. You know, he's a cabinet member, and he's just like, I want to do these things, and I still can't do them. Like sitting here talking to him, listening to him talk, giving a little speech in front of like 20 people. I'm like, what do you mean? You're the boss. Like, just do what you want to do. Like, isn't that what you got appointed here for?
It's crazy. Like people talk about how, like under the last administration, like at the border, like there would be border patrol guards sitting there, and they're literally like there's Mexican cartels like flying drones above them, and they'd be like, we should shoot these down, but we can't because like there's this chain of command, and ultimately like Mayorkas, whoever the head of that was, like has to like approve that the drones be shot down, right? And that's like an illustration of like the absurdity of some of this stuff, right? In a way that's like really, really tangible. Like surely we should agree that the cartel shouldn't just be able to just fly drones above the border with like impunity, right? But like the fact that that's happening, like if that is happening there, right? Like imagine what's happening in the Department of Education outside of the public view with something that is like way less like high leverage and kind of way more deep and nefarious and
Talking
has,
just
like, costs that are
decentralizing
way more into the future.
Decentralizing the decision making.
Yeah, but like bringing stuff more to the States is in and of itself decentralizing. Like it's good that we're running like a Florida experiment and a California experiment. And it's good that we're seeing people move from California to Florida because it shows like the marketplace of ideas, right? That this idea works and this idea is bad. And eventually that outflow gets so bad that like you're just forced to change that, right? But if everything is done at the federal level, like if all education is just purely done at the federal level, there are no experiments being run. It's like communism for education, right? It's like, no, this is the price you pay for math. And then like and then the results are shitty. And it's like, why can't kids in Detroit read? You know, why can't kids like
I
in
think
a lot of places read?
the like common perception is that if the Department of Education goes away, like schools won't happen, but that won't. It'll just be brought down under the states, and they'll have their own
It'll be
mini
decentralized.
version of their own Department of Education.
That's why this is a good litmus test, right? Because if your immediate result is like there won't be education, it's like, okay, you're very deep in a. If you're like panicking very hard, it's a sign you're somewhat propagandized, I think. And B, if you think like literally like if you eliminate this bureaucracy that no one will learn to read good, like that's also a sign. Like that's not exactly how it works. There are other ways of doing things. The world's not gonna like fly into the solar system.
I mean, in general, it'd be great if like the capital allocators, capital gets allocated for people who actually have risk versus people who don't have risk, right? And I don't know if their plans are to like privatize certain actions. I imagine if you shut certain things down, like the private markets will like step up to fulfill them. But I'm curious if that's going to be part of their plan. And I'm also curious like how the effective, like if you eliminate, hundreds of thousands of government employees, what the effect of that is on everything.
In the long run, very good. In the short term, potentially like very deleterious, which is why the idea of giving people like 2 or 3 year severances is like kind of interesting.
Stimmy checks.
Yeah, like they serve like a dual purpose. Like they're like stimmy checks, but they also don't. I guess they don't crash the economy because they're stimmy checks, but they also give people time to do that. Like that causes you from sending everything off the rails. You give people a chance to go back out into the world to be like, oh God, like what can I do? What are my skills? How can I get absorbed into the normal workforce? How can I like add value to society in a way that like I wasn't really doing before?
Yeah. I was also wondering, like, if you're in Elon's shoes, how do you do this with, like, I don't know, 5 hours a week?
I don't know. How is he top 20 in Diablo with, like, 5 hours? Like, it's just, like, I don't know. This man, I'm pretty sure, just has, like, a time machine at this point. He just, like, he can just push pause button. Like, it just makes no sense. He's running like 4 fucking companies.
Like how would you run it though? I'm curious. Like I think you would take a staff of like 20 trusted people and be like, listen, you're gonna go to this like congressional budget office and you're gonna look at all the data and like flag all the easy to win shit, and we're gonna shine a light on it. I'll be the one to like be the public facing version of this, but you feed me dumb stuff and I'll shine a light on it.
I would create some like bounty for snitching.
Mm.
Like, I would create like a snitch lottery, like he did with the voting. I would be like, the most egregiously fucking stupid. Like, I would take the top 100 most egregiously fucking stupid examples of government like waste in the department that you work in, right? And submit it to me with documentation. It'll be anonymous, right? And then whoever has the top 100 verified most egregious wastes of like public money, I'm gonna give all of you $1 million, right? Everybody in the government would just immediately be like, "Yep, snitching." Like, everybody be snitching. Susan's snitching on everybody around her. Everybody's like leaking everything. You would compile everything that's happening in the government that's like really, really shitty, and then all you would have to do is have somebody go and catalog it and confirm it. It would be the most efficient way to do the Department of Government.
I think they already
efficiency.
have something like this for whistleblowers. So, for example, in the SEC has a whistleblower program where the whistleblowers will make 10 to 30% of the money collected from sanctions over $1 million. So, I mean, you can make a significant amount of money. The IRS has a whistleblower program where they collect 15 to 30% of the proceeds from the tax enforcement. Anything that exceeds 2 million, False Claims Acts, 15 to 30%. So there's already like this like
there's precedent
for
this.
like you get 15,
Works pretty
30%
well.
of the commission over amount if you whistleblow on fraud, and so you could
We
enact
just
the
have
same
to
program.
downgrade that to large S. You know,
Right.
Just like
Yeah, I like that.
Whose tweet were you reading?
No one. I was just looking up
okay.
how much money do whistleblowers make in the
Okay.
government, and depending on the agency, they make anywhere from like 15 to 30% over a threshold.
Nick was like, "How do you investigate all of this widespread fraud?" And I was like,
Yeah,
"You
if
do a
you're-
sweepstakes.
If
You
you're
just have everybody
if you're
report
Elon, like how do you actually get this
all
shit
the
done?
fraud
You're
they see, and then whoever has the biggest fraud, you get $1 million."
I saw somebody, it might have been Naval or somebody I saw tweet this idea that was like, how about if you like incentivize Congress to balance the budget and like increase their salaries like exponentially if they can like create a balanced budget?
So we do something similar, but Alexander Gulman in the chat says we had this at Foot Locker. Process improvements ideas. You get 3 to 5% compensation for the documented savings. It was not this generous at Foot Locker, but the idea worked. So if you implemented a savings plan and showed like, hey, here's the effect of the savings, you got a commission on it.
That's awesome.
I love that. Pay them out.
God, can you imagine Congress people getting paid for doing good work instead of just like getting under the table lobby bribes?
Yeah, right.
Oh my god! Like, the world if government was just like, can you imagine if people made like $10 million a year working in government, but were like held accountable to that, and like they had to deliver like nationwide value?
When did we talk about this? I think it was a pod with just me and Steven, and we were talking about like, I don't know, some outlandish ideas, and we were like,
Crazy concept.
one of the concepts we wanted people in government to be exceedingly overpaid to what they would receive in the private market.
but also to have the death penalty.
Yes, like public lashings if you had any fraud. Like, no, you get the carrot and the stick at the same fucking time.
Big
and like,
carrot, really big stick.
not only do you, instead of like making $300,000 as a lawyer at a big firm, you go in and make $500,000 at like being, I don't know, counsel at this agency. But if you were caught stealing a paperclip, lashings.
You said lashings and you said death penalty.
I'm more in favor of the death penalty.
Okay. We can figure that out later.
Yeah, it's fine.
Let's go push to production.
It's like,
Just
don't,
see how
like,
this thing goes,
so
and
you're
we'll
not gonna
start.
like accidentally be corrupt. Just don't be corrupt.
Yeah.
Just,
You get
just don't
paid
do
enough.
it. You're getting paid enough money. Easy.
Edmund says I would gladly pay Congress bonuses if they balanced budgets. Wow, imagine that.
I feel like balancing the budget is like overrated.
Okay, if you're the United States, I agree.
But
Like,
like,
if you're like any country, it's like overrated. Like, no, you can't run infinite debt, but
how about reining it in? I mean, like,
yeah,
where
reining
we,
it in is fine. But this idea that you should like, there's this like kind of right wing fever dream that if you just like make all like income and expenses like level out to zero, the country will be better is like not.
Okay, we're
Correct.
talking about the effect of like dollar effect, right? What will this do to the common taxpayer? What will it do to the markets? But what if all it does is just reinstate trust in an institution that has very little trust? Like, you just show 30, 40 examples of the scum being shown light and it disinfects it, and then you slowly rebuild trust in this like system that
Different issue.
Right.
yeah, but
agree
like,
with
I
that.
think that's a good point. It's like, if anything else, transparency is going to be valuable. Like, even if it doesn't cut any dollars, but like it just like shines light on it, and then we can kind of understand.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was maybe David Sachs who mentioned this, but he said, "What if we just do a Twitter files of the government?" So, Trump puts all these people in different heads of departments and publish everything instead of having to do a request information. Just put it all public. It's not going to be pretty for a couple years, but at least we'll know what's going on, and the sunlight will disinfect on its own.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be good. It's like, you know how we have like nutrition labels on our food and like people are like aware of this stuff? Like if you put like a nutrition label on the government, like half of the people who vote Democrat wouldn't vote Democrat anymore. They'd be like, that's what we're doing? Wait, that's what I'm voting for? That's where the money's going? That's what the government does? And people would like have a heart attack, right? Be like vegans like voting for like sausage or something. Like you just feel like if they knew that, they would not be doing that.
It's funny because, like, ideally you'd want to communicate to the taxpayer, like, okay, we shut down this government program, it saved you X amount of dollars. Except it's probably going to be like, hey, we shut down this like $500 million program and you saved 72 cents a year.
Yeah.
yeah, and then there's gonna be a bunch of TikToks of people like, I lost my job.
And so
Yeah.
you could save 72 cents. Thanks,
Right.
appreciate it.
Yeah, that's how we get to this problem in the first place. Is
True.
that
It's just 72 cents.
it's just a penny. It's like the tax things we had on the budget, or in the voting thing last week. It's just like, do you want to spend a tenth of a penny to fix the roads? I'm like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I voted yes on that too. I voted yes.
Tenth of a penny on all, but yeah, I guess.
Well,
I
you
can
kind of
afford
pilled me on this idea that like debt doesn't matter. So I was just like, do you want to take out $10 billion of bonds to pay for this or that or whatever? I'm like, sure.
that. I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but
Are you talking about the propositions when you're going down the list?
Yes, yeah.
My default was like, if I don't immediately understand the impact and it's not obviously positive, no. Just
That was where I used to
default
land.
no.
I used to land on that.
What's your voting strategy? If it's not a hell yes, it's a no.
Yeah. And granted, I'm like, okay, yeah, if they issue another $500 million of like municipal bonds, people are going to buy it and they're going to use it to fund their retirement. And
That's not a good strategy though, because I could just reword the question in like the negative versus the affirmative, and you'd be like, "Yep, it's a no, it's not a hell yes," and I could get you to vote for the opposite issue.
I mean, Edmund wants to know, like, Bill Clinton balanced the budget. He went up on put a little whiteboard or draw board
Bill
up and
Clinton
put
these
zero.
days would be like so right wing.
Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama would be
Bill
right
Clinton,
wing.
Bill Clinton, I feel like is like to the right of Trump.
Have you
on a lot of
heard
stuff.
their old speeches on immigration? They would be
Or, like,
straight up
welfare?
cast as racist.
Oh yeah, gay marriage.
We should do an
But hold
episode
on,
where we
like-
bring up those clips and just play them on loop. We just
well,
don't
hold on.
talk.
Like, I think we're kind of like missing the point. Like, it doesn't matter if he's right wing or not. Like, he balanced the budget, and that was like within our lifetime. So that was like 20 years ago. He actually balanced the budget. We're at an increasing deficit in every administration since. He
Okay.
balanced it.
But that
Did he
deficit
balance
has
the
pumped your
budget,
bag,
or
sir.
did he preside over the internet boom in a period of like unprecedented like tax revenues?
Mm.
Well, we certainly have more tax revenues now.
But there
Not
was a
as
video
not
of
as a
him.
percentage of
There was
what
a
we're
video of
spending.
him like kind of overseeing some construction guy plugging in an Ethernet cable at one point. So, and Al Gore invented the internet. So you could argue that his administration was.
I mean, Bill Clinton, like the lessons from Bill Clinton are the lessons everybody needs to learn from this election. Because like Bill Clinton won like kind of like like drag out, knockdown brawl of a primary. Like there was like a battle in the party back then from like leftism versus like talking to the common man, and Bill Clinton ended up being like the moderate guy who wanted to talk to the common man, and he kind of like won. He won. Well, he didn't kind of win. He won by like a lot. He was like a wildly successful president. Like most people, you know, aside from the cigar stuff, you know, look fondly upon Bill Clinton, and some people even look, you know, now that even seems quaint to some people, given like the stuff we talk about these days.
Oh, sodomy
oh.
with cigar. How cute.
Like I was like,
So yeah, well, he served 2 terms, right? But the
Yeah.
first term it was against George Bush Sr. and Ross
HW.
Perot, and Ross Perot actually garnered 19% of the vote as
yeah,
an
he
independent.
crushed. He crushed.
Like that was the most an independent's ever gotten, and Ross Perot was a pretty badass candidate in his own right. So was George Bush Sr.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was like 3 heavyweights.
Did the Contra affair like just sink W or HW?
I think it was an economic thing. We had like a
Oh yeah, it was. It was like read my
Like
lips,
a-
no new taxes, and he increased taxes.
but like we also had like a mini recession at the time.
Yeah, the Contra affair was when he was head of the CIA.
But I kind of want to
Yeah.
focus on the budget itself. Like you're saying that the budget itself balanced because we had really high revenues that were like a one-off high revenues. It wasn't because they cut any expenses.
Or it was just like an inflection point, like the internet became a thing, and like the boom that happened from
Yeah.
that, and the growth on the stock
But
market.
we've had like
it's crazy.
many inflection points on the revenue side since. You could say like mobile. You could say like
Oh, but
AI
none
now.
of those were like going from like no computers to like computers. Like that was a huge.
So I
inflection
guarantee
point.
you that AI will be a bigger inflection from a tech standpoint
If you
and
let
we-
it.
And
I
we,
think you might be right,
and we
I
won't
think you might be
balance the
right.
budget. I
No,
guarantee
no.
we won't.
I think if AI is the equivalent, if inflection point of the internet, we'll have so much fucking money and we won't even know what to do. We'll be like making up new ways to spend it.
That's what I mean. We won't balance the budget.
No. Like we won't be able to spend it. We will balance the budget.
No, we won't be able to balance it because our spending will go off the charts.
Okay, we're saying opposite things right now.
Yeah, I think we're disagreeing.
So we disagree.
Alexander in the chat says, for 72 cents a day, you can save a starving agency. Or you can starve an agency, maybe. You can starve this agency into nothing.
No, like I agree with what Alex is saying. I'm not saying like it doesn't matter. I'm not saying debt doesn't matter, but this meme, especially on the right, that like you have to balance the budget, and that like balancing the budget and like making like income and outflows like exactly match will make the country better. Like I don't think that's correct at all.
No, I agree. And I think like this litmus test of like any analysis you see on this is like, do they look at the debt as a percentage of GDP? Litmus test number 1. If they do that, that's better. They're not insane. And then they have to show it relative to other, you know, first
Exactly.
world economies. And then you can start from there and be like, okay, does this matter?
But I
it's,
think
it's like a business, right? Like if you had a business that was making a ton of fucking money, right? And you're like, if I could just take on some debt to hire like 3 more developers, we could quadruple our revenue. And then the people who funded you were like, no, we like that your business has a balanced budget right now. We like that you're not going into any debt. You'd be like, but I could make so much more future revenue. Every dollar you give me will be $20 in the
You're
future.
right.
They'd be like, no, we would prefer that you had a balanced budget.
Even
as a
Warren Buffett
business."
says leverage is one of the ways to increase return on equity.
When used responsibly, it's great, and it's irresponsible to not use debt. Like if you can, like if you could take on 2% debt and get like 5% growth out of the money you take in, like it would be irresponsible to not.
but
take on the
there's
debt.
also like this idiotic other side of it that says like if you just look at the other economies and we're better than them, but they're all just riding themselves into the oblivion, like we're okay then. It's like, yeah, I guess, but it's like we're all running towards this cliff where like Bitcoin becomes the result and like
yeah, if that's the result, we're fucked.
yeah, like that's
You know
our
what I-
future we want.
You know what I feel like this is going to be like? I feel like this is going to be looked back on as like you guys remember like global cooling? Probably not because it
No.
was before our time. But
Yeah.
global cooling was a thing, right? Global cooling was a thing. Overpopulation was a thing. LOL. Running out of resources,
Oil, peak oil.
was
Yeah.
going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Peak oil. All these things we look back on, we're like, that was so fucking dumb because it like looks silly in history, right? And like right now, it's just like it's just too much debt. We won't be able to pay it back. But like in reality, we're just like one inflection point away from like AI or something creating so much growth and so much prosperity that the idea that we wouldn't be able to pay off the debt might end up being a meme someday. It might be
You're-
another thing that we look back on being like, oh my God, we used to worry about this, and now it seems so stupid.
Chat's saying you're teetering on the edge of modern monetary theory.
I don't hate it as much as people might think I
Wow.
hate it. I still don't think it's great, but I'm like relatively like left in some areas of economic. I
think you're left broadly.
I feel like I'm very centrist
I mean,
overall.
I think chat brings up another good point. Like, I think it all doesn't matter until the bond market matters. Like, if the 10-year yield, is like, hey, you're pumping out so much money, so much deficit, you're borrowing so much money, you're borrowing money to pay the debt that I already lent you. I'm going to need like 7, 8, 9% yield on my treasuries. It affects.
Why would you stop? Like, Nick, if you had a credit line at 0% and you could just borrow, you borrow, and Eric says, hey, Nick, you got to stop borrowing at 0%, man. That rate's going to go up and you're not going to be able to pay it back or something. And you're like, yeah, but it's like 0%. You'd be kind of dumb to not keep borrowing at 0% until something happens. Then you go, oh, shit, maybe I should start borrowing now.
Well, the point is, it's 4.5% now, and GDP is not 4.5%.
GDP will be 4.5%.
Yeah.
Okay, so I agree with this line of thinking, and like I worry about a day when like our government debt gets 0 bids. If that day comes, it's like
I'm not as worried about it. Like, I think it's like what do we call it on the weekend? Like a intellectual masturbation for the most part.
Yes.
yeah,
Like, it's just like a entertaining topic to
intellectual
like
circle jerk?
wrestle around in your head. Like,
yeah, but that's like
oh my
half
God, this
of-
is like such a big problem, and like let's dissect this, and it'd be fun to like if we can figure out a solution, it'd be fun to talk about.
I feel like sitting around like panicking about the debt. It's like the right wing version. It's the right wing version of like global warming. It's probably even worse actually. It's probably actually like way worse
This is
than that.
half of what we do on this podcast is just do these intellectual and masturbatory things. Because talking about politics at all is masturbatory.
Yeah.
No, I think there are some things that are less masturbatory. How many times can we say the word masturbatory in a 5-minute?
I don't know. That's a good word.
I think this is one of them, which is funny. It's funny because some of the stuff we talk about, like global warming, for example, it's not like you can go in, like you can pull up TradingView and look at some global indicator of like how big of a deal global warming is.
I don't
Right?
know, I'm pretty sure I can buy perps on carbon credits. But anyway, go ahead.
But like when you're talking about the debt, you can just pull up like the 10-year rate. Like everybody can like freak out about everything. Oh my God, what's happening? But ultimately, like there's just like a market, and it's like, how bad is it? Not that bad.
I mean, I
right now?
am truly conflicted because, like, Bitcoin has a very high correlation with money supply, and so like some part of me wants
with
money
like,
supply to go
with
north.
like liquidity, which
Yeah.
is a slightly different thing, right?
Right. True, but it often grows because of debt and because of our debt.
Does it, or does it grow because of animal spirits?
Is that any different? Oh, that'd be interesting to look at. We were talking about margin levels and that they're relatively low right now, and there's more room for animal spirits.
I love to hear that.
Yeah.
I mean, not to go all the way back on the
Yeah, I
crypto
know.
topic, but like one of the interesting things is that in the crypto world right now, there is not really any way to get sustainable leverage. Like in the last bull run, you had Grayscale, which is just like this like infinite money printer glitch that turned out to not be so. But for a while, it was a way for people to get really fucking stupid. Like crypto in general is like very fiscally constrained at the moment because you can't even get a fucking bank account. Never mind like a zero collateral loan, right? So there's a lot of room to be stupid in that area of the economy, whereas other areas of the economy are already maybe getting to unsustainably stupid.
Like, I don't know how much effect this Department of Government Efficiency, but I fall into the bucket of feels good. Feels good that they're doing it. Feels right. Feels good.
Stephen brought
Maybe
me back.
it's just all about the vibes.
Stephen brought me back to the crypto thing, and I want to hit you guys with a Polymarket bet that I just created in my mind.
Hit it
Okay.
up.
MSTR bankruptcy within the next 15 years.
Oh, 15 years. No,
years.
bring me shorter.
10 years.
10 years?
10 years. Like, because here's the thing. When we looked at MSTR 3 years ago, when we started doing this podcast, we looked at MSTR. They're like, their bankruptcy level, if like would be if Bitcoin hit like $3,000.
Yeah, it's like 3K.
But they've issued a ton more debt and they bought a ton more Bitcoin at higher pricing. So like their bankruptcy level is rising all the time.
I got to say, there's something about it that, like, when you guys talk about what they're doing, and I'm like, I don't get it yet. Like, I need, like, it's hard for me to grasp exactly.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's fucking reflexivity. It's so easy.
Right, so it goes the other way, too, is what you're saying.
Yes. So they issue their own equity and debt to buy Bitcoin, which inflates their balance sheet value. So their like equity value rises because they're buying Bitcoin, and then they can sell more equity because their equity value rises. It's reflexivity on the way up.
It's like, Nick, you own a bunch of stock, and I'm going to dilute you in dollars. And you go, oh, but you're going to get more Bitcoin. And you're like, yay. So as long as you value Bitcoin more than you value dollars, that's like good. You're not really getting diluted. You're getting more Bitcoin per share, even though you have less dollars per share. But like if you suddenly are like, I don't really value Bitcoin per share anymore. What is my dollars per share? What is my like kind of actual equity?
I like a better Polymarket bet. Bitcoin Reserve, or what is it? National Bitcoin Reserve.
That was at like 25%, wasn't it?
Yes or no?
25% yes.
Oh, okay. I thought the yes
is
was
it?
higher. I was going to take the no on that.
I mean, if it's higher, like you should just
But like hold
buy
Bitcoin
like all
and
of the
take no.
leaps you can. Just take every leap you can get. You should call the option desks and just have them make you a market for just the most absurd price possible. It's
It would be the Michael Burry of
So
if you
guys-
truly think Bitcoin is 25% strategic reserve in the next in the next presidency, like Bitcoin should be like $250,000 right
Right.
now, and maybe we'll look back on this a month from now and be like, oh, Bitcoin's $250,000.
Well, I think within the next month or two or so, by the end of the year, we'll probably have Bitcoin options, so we can probably make these bets.
please. I don't have to buy these stupid miners.
Yeah. Stupid miners that are now up to above 50% gross margin, and they're okay. So here's another thing on HUD.
Bring it back, baby.
Bring it back, baby.
Bring it back.
Bring us back home.
This accounting rule change, they had to like mark to market their Bitcoin holdings.
Good point.
So they marked to market at $62,000 on the most recent earnings call. They're going to earn like $3 a share next quarter. The stock price is 24.
All right. I'm waking up early tomorrow. See you guys at 6:30 in the morning.
I gotta wake up early too.
Bitcoin strategic reserve, I'm putting at 40%.
When
Yes on?
Yes.
Dogecoin strategic.
But what if
reserve?
it's just not selling whatever the U.S. Marshals have? Like, that's like not
Yeah.
interesting. But if it's like,
Yeah,
no,
that's-
we're going to buy,
That's what I'm taking.
we're going
as
to
the
buy,
reserve.
I don't know,
But imagine
$1 million Bitcoin and stock it in Fort.
Look, I do
Fort
agree.
Knox
I
crypto
do
wallet.
agree it's being underpriced. This is why, like, everybody, I have all these. Finally, the time again when everybody's texting me like, "Do I buy? Should I buy? It's going up." I'm just like, just fucking buy it. Just whatever.
like
just buy it.
imagine what you guys just said about like government bloat and bureaucracy. When something gets created, it doesn't get removed. Like they're gonna create the Bitcoin reserve using just what they already have, and then that's gonna be a thing forever.
And then every country on Earth has to do the same
Just follow
thing.
suit. Oh
Yeah.
my God, we don't own enough Bitcoin.
Does my ETH go up at the same time?
Fuck no, miners do.
All right. Well, we brought it back full circle.
All right,
I think it's time, fam.
let's wrap it there.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys had fun this episode. We had a lot of fun. We knew we were gonna have fun this episode, and I think we surely did.
All right, thanks everybody in the chat.
Yeah.
Chat was very active tonight.
Very active.
Appreciate it.
We love you lots.
Steven is back, you guys. Steven's back.
Feels great.
So fucking back.
Feels great. Like the video if you haven't already. Otherwise, we will see you next week. Love you guys. See ya.
Later.
Later.